I die. Racing isn't easy, but experiencing it is. iRacing puts you in the driver's seat with the industry's leading sim racing game. Drive on laser scan replicas of the greatest racing circuits from around the world. Go head-to-head against other drivers chosen by skill-based matchmaking to ensure competitive racing at every level. Compete across all your favorite series. In officially licensed cars, engineered to deliver the most accurate driving experience possible. Join a race or host your own with players from across the globe. Race against the computer or in a league with friends. Feel the thrill behind the wheel. Visit iRacing.com.
When you want to be the best, you can't settle for the rest. For anything on iRacing, there's just one name you need, Makoni.
With the launch of Makoni Entertainment and Makoni Competizone alongside Makoni Setup Shop, we now provide the best of the best in setups, paint schemes, coaching, broadcasting, and event organization.
With cars across all 4 license classes, we have what you need to hit the track with confidence. Grab a subscription and save money while going fast at MakoniSetupShop.com/subscriptions.
And remember, at Makoni Setup Shop, there are setups, but your victories.
Hello, my name's Aaron Brown from the Garage Shop in Denver, North Carolina. We're here at the famous Bonneville Speedway in Wendover, Utah. One of the most harshest environments on the planet to race in, and that's why we need the best tools Snap-on has to offer. What we use here to pump up the oil in our race engines to prime them is this Snap-on screw gun. With its variable speed and high torque, this allows us to spin our oil pumps up to 1,500 RPMs, creating 70 pounds of oil pressure, which helps us get everything settled in, nice and happy, and turn the hot oil through the engine. It's compact, lightweight, and able to fit in really tight spaces. Its 9-position clutch allows us to torque things, nuts, bolts, from 8-inch to 50-inch pounds. Small size and high performance helps us get into many places on a race car where normal tools can't. Under the dash and the engine compartment, we also use this to drill a lot of holes in very tight spots.
Welcome in, everybody. Welcome back to another edition of the Ignition Zone pre-race show presented by the Collegiate iRacing League. Excited to have you back here for another week of fierce Garage Shop College Cup Series action. Should be a fun one tonight from New Hampshire, but we'll get into why that'll be special in just a moment here. Joining me tonight is everyone's favorite CIL analyst, it's Brad Daniels. Alongside me, he's alongside me. I'm Alex Gagnon. Christian Hill up in the booth providing all the camera shots tonight. And yeah, Brad, welcome into another week of CIL action here, and welcome back, first time since the Clash.
Thank you, Alex. And looks like I missed a barn burner of a race, the last race out here in Charlotte, and now we're going to pretty much a completely different track here in New Hampshire. It's gonna be a tale of two, well, really just two different races, I think.
Yeah, no, absolutely. This is going to be a unique challenge for a whole bunch of folks. As I get my webcam kind of sorted here. I thought I was in line with it, and then I moved, so then I was no longer centered. But yeah, New Hampshire's going to be a fun challenge tonight. Never a track that the CIL has gone to before, which should make this really interesting. I've been watching practice, and some drivers who we don't typically see at the front have really got this setup dialed in, and there's a couple who we typically see do really well who are struggling at the moment, so we can highlight that a bit more later. But first, let's take a look at our schedule that we've got so far this season. This is race 2 of the season, of this season 12 full season points format, so this is going to matter just as much as last week's race at Charlotte. And Brad, you know, the schedule starts with some of the more straightforward tracks before we start getting into a bunch of wild cards through the middle of the year.
Yeah, and especially New Hampshire. I mean, it's going to be the shortest track we're going to see, at least in this first half of the year. So really, I think New Hampshire is going to be a test for some of these drivers that might not like short tracks. I know there's a lot of drivers here who really don't like to race at any type of short track, especially because of the calamity it could cause, and also just the overall, you know, braking more than really driving at some points, it feels like.
Yeah, it's you know, everyone has had their experience when an iRacing event turns to an iPacing event, and short tracks can sometimes be the cause of it. But New Hampshire is incredibly wide, so I actually think there will be a lot of room to rumble tonight, just not a lot of banking. But we will we'll obviously see how that plays out when all the cars get on track. Practice has been an adventure so far. Some really fast times being thrown down, then a couple of cars who simply cannot get that car to wheel around on the small banking. But speaking of banking his first ever CIL College Cup Series victory, it was Garrett Vighton. Won it in a barn burner of a finish last week over that great battle with Lucas Moody in the dying laps of that race. Brad, I know you weren't able to join us for last week, but you know, what does it say to you, you know, as someone who was in this series for several years, when a driver who's been around as long as Garrett has finally breaks through? What kind of message does that send to the rest of the league?
I mean, Garrett has shown speed his entire time in the CIL. I feel like he was due seasons ago, I feel like, at this point. He's been at the front multiple times, and much like Brandon Schollenberger we saw last season, it feels like just, you know, they broke through that ceiling of just, you know, getting that first win. And I think especially for Garrett tonight, I think, you know, he can use that momentum, especially, I mean, it was the first race of the season, and I don't think there's any better way you could really do it other than the way Garrett had it last week. So I think him and a lot of these guys that we saw in the top 10, I mean, I feel like last week the top 10 was not what we typically saw looking back into last season.
Yeah, no, and that was something that was really interesting. With a couple of early wrecks, caught some of the contenders off guard, a late wreck with some of the leaders. And then, you know, just some cars who just had phenomenal pace last week. So, you know, between all of that, there was definitely some shuffling. There's some guys, I mean, like Jared Kaler finished outside the top 10, which was almost an impossibility last season. But early damage kind of stuck him behind the 8-ball. And a full season points format, that's a race that's going to stick with you the entire time. You don't get the ability to just kind of play that off like you would in the win and you're in sort of playoff format. So I think this could be a huge night of kind of redemption for some of those drivers who got caught up in early calamity in Charlotte, to try and, you know, get the season back on track here before we get too far along. Because some folks were able to salvage decent days out of that, but others DNF'd very early on and are going to want to at least finish the race tonight to start getting those points back in the bank. Well, with that, I do believe we have an opportunity to talk to last week's winner, Garrett Vighton, in just a moment. So let's see if we can pull him in, driver of the 42 for Arizona State. Hey there, Garrett. This is Alex and Brad up in the booth. You got a copy?
Yeah, I got you.
Alrighty. Well, welcome in to the Ignition Zone pre-race show. Obviously, the winner last week at Charlotte. I guess first and foremost, obviously now you've had a couple of days to kind of sit with that win. How are you feeling about how last week went, and how are you feeling about your chances tonight?
Pretty well. Obviously, last week, we can't do any better than winning the race. So really happy about that. Great start to the season, setting up some good momentum. Sorry, I got crew chief yelling at me right now. Let's turn that off. And then coming into this today, the setup's pretty tight. You really have to wait on it in the corners. Let the car get pointed itself, and it's going to be a tire fall is pretty big. You're looking at easily a second and a half and about a 25 to 30 lap run. I have a feeling that we might get a lot of cautions, just because people will be overdriving corners, maybe clearing themselves. My pace isn't bad. I don't think I'm the fastest, so we might have to pull a little pit strategy. But we'll make it work, and gonna hope to keep the momentum going.
And congratulations, Garrett. I wasn't here last week to tell you that, but using that win from last, sorry, I was slacking. Using that momentum from last week, and then looking forward into this season and here at New Hampshire, how are you going to use that win to propel you into, contention here throughout the season? Because especially with the new point system, consistency is going to matter.
Yeah, I think consistency is actually something I found towards the end of last season. Was consistently running in the top 10, getting into the top 10, top 5s, fighting for wins. So then I was really able to carry that over into this season. Starting off with a win, leading the points in one race is cool and all, but really you got to be leading in points after 14 races. So I think if we really just stay consistent, stay out of the carnage that's going to happen, we'll be just fine.
So with that kind of being said, we've seen you go out there on track. You said that you've had some decent pace, but the pit strategy might have to be the factor tonight. Is there anything particular you're looking for when it comes to trying to find an opportunity to turn this into a fuel strategy race? Is there anything that stands out, or is that something that's going to be a little proprietary, hold it close to your chest until the opportunity presents itself, in case anyone's listening in today?
No. Fuel strategy, you can do it on actually a one-stopper if you really wanted to. Your tires wouldn't be happy with you at the end of that, that's for sure. But it can be done on a one-stop. You're gonna go a lap down in pit road. So I don't foresee myself being the first one to pit. But in two tires, it's not gonna work either here as well. I will say that.
Yeah, that's with no real banking, and I'm imagining even if you put fresh tires on, it's not going to get that full effect that you'd truly like. It's somewhere where you could just rip it.
Yeah, the lefts actually wear more than the rights, believe it or not. So.
And that's how you know you've got yourself one flat racetrack, when you can just sit it in and start cooking the insides and the lefts. Garrett, I appreciate you blocking out some time to chat with us today. Thank you for dropping by. Anyone you'd like to shout out here before you get ready for qualifying?
I'm racing with the Jakes in the chat tonight. And then unfortunately Brandon is not going to be able to make it, so we're going to be missing a Giga Chad, which is very depressing. But we'll shout him out as always. He's at his great grandma's 100th birthday party. So congrats to her for making it to 100.
Yeah, the big triple digits for Miss Great Grandmother Schulenberger.
Yeah. And then my girlfriend, as always, she said she'd be watching tonight. So.
Very fun. Also, I guess one last little comment I can throw in here now. I'm thinking about it. Giga Chads winning each of the last 3 points paying CIL races, I think, going back with Cummings, Schulenberg, and then you last week? Or it's either 3 or 3 or 3 or the last 4. So y'all are on one heck of a heater right now, and I'm excited to see how that continues potentially tonight. But
Yeah.
Garrett,
Well,
thank you so much for. Oh, go ahead. Sorry.
The hopes to make it a 4th.
That is certainly the goal. And looking at the lap times out there, looks like a couple of y'all definitely have a chance at it. Excited to see what y'all do tonight. Garrett, thanks for dropping by, and best of luck.
Thank you for having me.
All right, and that was Garrett Vighton, driver for Arizona State in the 42 machine. I'll ask producer Christian to humbly put him back wherever he needs to go, so he's not stuck in the waiting room as we get ready for qualifying. He even beat me to it. All right, even better. With that, I guess it's there's only one thing really left to do, which is, getting into the actual race itself. Practice is just wrapping up here in the next couple minutes, but Brad, I guess I should ask, who do you have your eye on tonight as someone you foresee doing well at a place like New Hampshire, given that we've never been here before?
Well, I honestly think there's going to be... I think this is going to take a lot of skill from somebody to win this race and ultimately make the moves that need to be made. I think Muhammad Alif does great work when he has never been somewhere before. He can think on his feet, it seems like, with that car. And I'm also looking towards Daniel Nanny. I mean, Nanny has been fast, and I think he's no doubt going to be in the fight tonight.
Yeah, I mean, both of those guys have such great acumen for these cars. Obviously, Ball State teammates. They had such a good run last year, won most of the middle half of the season. I mean, they were just crushing it toward the end of last year. I'm kind of looking at lap times and seeing how things are going here through the practice session. Someone who I have my eyes on is a car who struggled a bit last week, and that's the 100 of Drew Williams for Clemson. The reigning alumni champion, I think, has some good speed tonight. I think he could be one to watch. And then one that really intrigues me is currently the fastest time in practice is Drexel's Michael James, who finished 3rd at the Clash at Lanier. Obviously a very different track from New Hampshire, but fundamentally far more similar than running at Charlotte was. So really curious to see if he's got some short track talent up his sleeve here that we have yet to be witness to the full potential of.
I'm here for it.
We're gonna have a show, that is for sure. A lot of familiar faces, a couple of new names out there tonight as well that we'll get into in just a little bit. But for now, I think we're gonna take a quick commercial break. When we come back, it'll be the start of this race from New Hampshire, the second race of the Garage Shop College Cup Series season. You won't want to miss it. We'll be right back.
Racing isn't easy, but experiencing it is. iRacing puts you in the driver's seat with the industry's leading sim racing game. Drive on laser scan replicas of the greatest racing circuits from around the world. Go head-to-head against other drivers chosen by skill-based matchmaking to ensure competitive racing at every level. Compete across all your favorite series. In officially licensed cars, engineered to deliver the most accurate driving experience possible. Join a race or host your own with players from across the globe. Race against the computer or in a league with friends. Feel the thrill behind the wheel. Visit iRacing.com.
When you want to be the best, you can't settle for the rest. For anything on iRacing, there's just one name you need, Makoni.
With the launch of Makoni Entertainment and Makoni Competizone alongside Makoni Setup Shop, we now provide the best of the best in setups, paint schemes, coaching, broadcasting, and event organization.
With cars across all 4 license classes, we have what you need to hit the track with confidence. Grab a subscription and save money while going fast at MakoniSetupShop.com/subscriptions.
And remember, at Makoni Setup Shop, there are setups, but your victories.
Hello, my name's Aaron Brown from the Garage Shop in Denver, North Carolina. We're here at the famous Bonneville Speedway in Wendover, Utah. One of the most harshest environments on the planet to race in, and that's why we need the best tools Snap-on has to offer. What we use here to pump up the oil in our race engines to prime them is this Snap-on screw gun. With its variable speed and high torque, this allows us to spin our oil pumps up to 1,500 RPMs, creating 70 pounds of oil pressure, which helps us get everything settled in, nice and happy, and turn the hot oil through the engine. Compact, lightweight, and able to fit in really tight spaces. Its 9-position clutch allows us to torque things, nuts, bolts, from 8-inch to 50-inch pounds. Small size and high performance helps us get into many places on a race car where normal tools can't. Under the dash and the engine compartment, we also use this to drill a lot of holes in very tight spots.
It's been over 100 races since the first ever College Cup Series event back at Kansas in 2020. You might say that we've seen it all here in the CCS, but that's where I'd say you're wrong. Even in Season 12, there's still some room for a bit of new race magic. For the first time ever in the Garage Shop College Cup Series, we are headed to the virtual New Hampshire Motor Speedway for the New Hampshire Brew Blitz 151 presented by Hex and Hop. And the Magic Mile will get its first opportunity on the CCS calendar in 4.5 calendar years of CIL competition, which is pretty cool if I do say so myself. As introduced in the pre-show, it'll be former CIL driver Brad Daniels, producer Christian Hill, and I'm Alex Gagnon, welcoming you in to tonight's coverage of the second round of the 2025 Garage Shop College Cup Series spring season. Brad, we got to talk just a couple minutes ago about what to expect, but I guess this is the real opportunity to dive in now. And what do you expect from the drivers tonight? Anytime you go to a track in a league for the first time, there's always a little bit of extra nerves.
Yeah, and I completely think that the first 30 or 40 laps of this thing are going to be a lot of feeling out what the track and racing is going to be like for these drivers. Since we haven't been here, also New Hampshire is just so unique to what we're used to. I mean, just a flat oval is not what, I don't know if we've ever been to just a flat oval. If anything, a road course would be considered flat because obviously there's no banking in all those corners. So, I mean, these guys are going to have to get used to not being able to send it in there in the banking to be able to help them a little bit. I think a lot of these guys and a lot of these drivers are going to have to try and make sure that they are keeping those tires safe while also not absolutely obliterating them going into the turn.
Yeah, the only kind of track that I think would even resemble racing like this that we have been to previously has been Martinsville, of which we have gone twice. Most recently in Season 8, which is over a year ago at this point, and then Season 1. So this is a style of racing that really doesn't come up on the calendar very often, you know, this sort of super flat, high braking zone style oval. But unlike Martinsville, New Hampshire brings a lot more speed to it, with it being a mile versus a half mile. And we see kind of the virtual shot of what it looks like there. So there it is on your screen, 1.05 miles. And Brad, I mean, you were talking about it, but look at that. Just the banking, or dare I say lack thereof.
Yeah, and considering the backstretch, the two front and backstretch technically have 1 degree of banking, and then you go into the corner and it only changes by 6 degrees is just insanity for what we're used to here in the CIL. So I think these guys, like we said, are just going to have to learn how to tame the magic mile here in New Hampshire. And as you can see here, this is the first time we've ever been here. So I think, honestly, I wouldn't be surprised with the start of this race having some cautions, but I think once people get into the groove of how this is going to go, I think we should be fine. Because like you said earlier, Alex, this track is very wide for what we're really talking about here.
Yeah, and I think that will play to the driver's advantage, especially when they try to work their way through traffic tonight. But before we get into, what qualifying looks like in tonight's starting grid, I want to thank a few folks who make this series possible at any given point. First off, the Garage Shop, a race car fabrication company building some of the most unique cars, trucks, and off-road vehicles around. Their motto of honoring the racers who came before us and putting our competitors behind us is very much felt here in the CIL, and you can check them out at thegarageshop200.com. Also want to thank ECAC Esports. ECAC Esports existing to add value to its member schools by enhancing the competitive experience for hundreds of students seeking to participate in intercollegiate esports. The Maccone Setup Shop, the official setup shop of eNASCAR and the Collegiate iRacing League, the home for setups, paint schemes, coaching, and more. Subscriptions available today at themacconesetupshop.com. Whiplash SimCams, an iRacing and esports media group specializing in racing and team graphics, iRacing camera packs, and other broadcasting resources. And tonight's race sponsor, Hex and Hop, the New York microbrewery dedicated to making high-quality beers and meads, enriching experiences, and providing togetherness amongst friends. Check out their extraordinary lineup and what makes them part of the Adirondack experience. Head to hexandhop.com. Hex and Hop beverages are only to be consumed by those over the age of 21 in the United States and 19 in Canada. Never drink and drive, and please drink responsibly. So with that, Brad, I gotta ask. First opportunity to take a rip here at New Hampshire. What do you think is going to be the feeling going into turn one? Is everyone going to overdrive it with the nerves? Is everyone going to be really gentle with the fact that there's no banking? What do you anticipate turn one looking like here tonight? Because I honestly have no idea.
I think that honestly, I think it goes with where everyone starts, because I feel like the more aggressive drivers are going to be way more aggressive using every lane they can. I know Daniel Nanny is someone we have seen use lines that we didn't even think were possible just to stay alongside someone. And I think, depending on how how qualifying goes here, I think we're just going to see a lot of people fan out into turn one and hopefully no one drive over each other.
Yeah, that's going to be the big hope for sure. So let's take a look at a qualifying video here at New Hampshire and just get a sense of what the drivers are going to have to deal with tonight. And Brad, we're going to jump on board here with last week's winner, Garrett Veit.
And like Garrett said, I mean, the weirdest tire wear you could think of, the left sides were wearing more than the right side. So going into turn one here in that ASU machine, you could see he's staying a line up from the bottom, sliding up a little bit, and then using that diamond arc to get that run down the backstretch. I think that's going to be the key to success for a lot of these guys that can find clean track, is using that using that diamond type of dive into the corner.
You see him rolling through there, and it is diamonding this corner is going to be so critical because it allows you to get back on the throttle just a little bit earlier if you're trying to wrap the bottom. But with no banking, You know, there's not really a desire to run up high if you can help it, because there's no speed advantage really of going up there. But if you get all the way down low, you really have to get so much time off the throttle that it really makes navigating this place in this next-gen Cup car a little trickier than you might imagine. Cars will definitely be looking to get down below each other and sliding up tonight if they can help it, because it's going to be incredibly difficult to make a pass on the outside. It'll be just an extended version of what a like a late night or like a Friday night late model race could look like at a local track. Just a lot of cars trying to set up their pass laps in advance and get down under them going into the corner. So that was our qualifying lap here at New Hampshire. Brad, sorry, I did not mean to cut you off.
No, I mean, the only thing I was going to say is I noted that, the restart zone is going to be just coming out of turn 4, so a majority of the field is still going to be coming out of the corner when the green flag drops on these restarts. So that could cause a little bit of shuffling and a lot of probably some calamity for these drivers.
Absolutely. So let's take a look at tonight's starting grid here for the Brew Blitz 151 presented by Hex and Hop. It'll be our Muhammad Alif and Ball State on the front row tonight. So one of Brad's early picks right up there on the pole position with a 30.925, a blisteringly fast lap from the 12. Jake Hall from Clemson to his outside, a great start for him. Row 2, it'll be Auburn's Reese Bayham making his CIL debut tonight in the number 3 machine. Daniel Nanny from Ball State rolls off 4th. Clint Halterman from UNC Charlotte will roll off in the 5th position tonight. Reigning alumni champ Drew Williams rolling off to his outside in position number 6. Longtime CIL driver Esteban Munoz rolls off 7th tonight for FIU. Zach DeWale for St. Clair College in 8th. And rounding out the top 10, it's Jake Cummings from Converse University and Jared Kaler from UNC Charlotte.
Starting in row 6, Lucas Moody, we saw fast last week from Ball State, and to his outside, Ricky Paz from East Carolina. Insert 13th, we have Logan Smith from Auburn University, and to his outside, Athena LeClaire. Podium finish last week. She will try and finish that up this week. Keegan Calick from St. Clair as well, starting 15th, and last week's winner, Garrett Vighton from ASU. In 17th, we have Austin DeLong from the Penn College of Technology, and to his outside, longtime CIL driver Matthew Nordberg from North Carolina State. And finishing out the top 20, Nick Stockner from Clemson, and to his outside, Alex Finnerty from UNC Charlotte.
Row 11 tonight will be Ben Neller from Ball State University, Jason Wallet from Drexel to his outside. 23rd on the grid will be last week's analyst, Ryan Whitlock from Alabama Huntsville, Kelton Quick from Ball State rolling off 24th. Top 25 tonight, Edward Sanchez from Baruch College had a great run last season. Connor Zabosian from Kettering finished top 10 last week. He'll roll off 26th. And 27th tonight will be Andrew Burrell from Clemson University, Dylan Godinez from the Penn College of Technology in 28th. And row 15 will be Daniel Hunter from St. Clair College and Ethan Decatur from Valparaiso.
In row 16, we have Michael James from Drexel University, and to his outside, Dwayne Young from Kettering University. Nathaniel Crone from the University of Toledo on the inside, and to his outside, Wesley Shaw from Texas A&M Texarkana. Jack Wilson from the University of North Georgia starts in 35th, and 36th, Zach Tallman from the Penn College of Technology. In row 19, Roger Primo from Paul Smith College, and to his outside, Lee Kane from Southern Mississippi. And rounding out your field, Carter Copini, also from Paul Smith, starts 39th.
Paul Smith's College, affiliated in some capacity with Hex and Hop, who's sponsoring tonight's race. So a big shout out to the PCS or PSC folks. They are, doing us a favor here, getting them on board. Also, have been fun to have them in the league the past couple seasons. They're getting better each and every week. Not to mention, this is just a bit of unrelated trivia, but the Paul Smith College women's club hockey team, national champions last year in the AAU College Hockey Division III bracket. So just a fun little bit of Paul Smith College lore in case anyone needed that. Race analysis on your screen right now. It is a hot one out there today, 80 degrees with a track temp of 104, but a bit windy. Race length 151 laps, so it'll be about 151 miles. Pit load speed 45 miles an hour. 5 sets of tires available over the wall. And to what Garrett was saying in the pre-show, Brad, estimated fuel window of 85 to 90 could do it in one pit cycle potentially, but I would imagine that everyone is going to try and come down a bit more often to get new tires before they have to run 85 to 90 laps.
Yeah, running long at a short track can cause you to go more laps down than you like, and you know some drivers might be able to get back onto the lead lap once they're in that deficit, but really, if this race probably has to go green all the way through for someone to run out their entire fuel window. You know, I'd like to see it, but if it happens, you know, I'm more power to you.
Yeah, and you know, even as a broadcaster, I'll be entirely honest with both you and the folks at home, I have not broadcasted a ton of events here at New Hampshire. The last time I broadcasted a race at New Hampshire, the driver who ended up winning the race in a 200-lap race at this track, at lap 120, was 4 laps down and proceeded to get every lucky dog the rest of the race to get back on the lead lap and then stole it in a green-white checkered. So hopefully we see some good racing tonight, but hopefully we don't see the insanity that led to having that result come up. It was still one of the most insane things I've ever seen in my couple years of being a sim racing broadcaster. But the lights are off on the pace car. R. Muhammad Alif and Jake Hall getting ready to rock and roll up at the front of the field. Pace car going to peel in. Ball State and Clemson on the front row. Green flag in the air, and we are racing at New Hampshire. Muhammad Alif will jump out to the early lead here, but all eyes turn to the 30 of Daniel Nanny. Clipped the wall down the back straightaway, cost him a spot there to Reese Bayham. And now Clint Halterman going to try and take that fourth spot away as Esteban Munoz closes in on the back bumper. Good little scrap here for 4th, 5th, and 6th.
Yeah, that outside line will provide a lot of momentum going down the back and front stretch here. So that's why you see Esteban Munoz being able to make that move to the outside. Clint's going to have to now get up in the line right in front of Drew Williams as Jake Cummings is looking to the inside of Drew. Jake is not going to go away from a fight. We've seen that before. Drew goes wide going into the turn. Jake's going to get a little bit of an advantage, but Drew's going to get that run coming out of the corner.
Door to door, down the back straightaway. Williams up high, Cummings down low. The Clemson driver going to lunge it in deep to turn 3. Washes up the track a little bit, though. Is going to give the 95 an opportunity to look to the inside. And they will stay door to door on corner exit. And this is the kind of battle that'll make Clinton Halterman smile in the rearview mirror as he sees those guys holding each other up, giving him an opportunity to create a little bit of separation from the cars behind him, but looks like just as we're saying that, Cummings will hold on to P7. Williams gets right to the back bumper, and around they go once again. The action unrelenting here in the opening couple laps.
And I think what we talked about in the pre-race where Drew was overshot the corner each time. I think he missed his braking points. But, I mean, for the first time, he was able to rebound against Cummings, but now he's under fire against Zach DeWale from St. Clair. But I think he's going to be able to clear him here. So, unfortunately for him, he's able to stay in line.
Yeah, so we're watching this early going unfold. You can see how quickly the field spreads out here at New Hampshire. You know, when everything has to kind of single file through the corners, unless you're going to start losing out track time, things start opening up in a hurry. As the caution's out down the back straightaway, Ben Neller looks like he got a piece of somebody. Jack Wilson sideways on the back straightaway. Don't know where that started. I just saw there was cars spinning around the 79, although it may be that the 9 was even more involved. Looks like the 076 of Matt Nordberg may have also gotten a piece of it. But let's see if we can find what happened here to Jack Wilson, who was ended up pointing toward that infield barricade.
Ooh.
Looked like there was multiple cars spinning off of turn 2, actually. So Wilson's around, but watch what happens to the 45 just ahead of him of Dwayne Young. They both look like they start losing it here off the corner, but ultimately it's just Wilson around. I don't know what I was seeing then with the 79 of Neller.
Yeah, I think there was 2 separate incidents at this point then. So right along here from the 076 Wolfpack machine, staying in line between Nick Stockner, Edward Sanchez. Running down the front stretch here. You can see Ben Neller looks like is in front here. And I think he was one of these cars involved, so it might be something that just pops up in Nordberg's lap, but we'll see here as they're going down the backstretch. See Sanchez gets into the wall a little bit, it looks like, but is able to stay alongside. Oh, Neller just sends it in there and just starts looping it, and Nordberg is just an unsuspecting victim.
Yeah, no kidding. Boy, what a lunge from the 79. Did not work out, though, as he gets washed up the track. And I believe, actually, that is what they're going to call as the cause of caution, not the 9 self-spinning off of 2. Although they did happen about simultaneously on track. On board here with the Wolfpack machine, you can see Ben Neller here going into 3. He's going to really launch it to the inside of Edward Sanchez. And it just washes up the track on him. Nowhere to go for Nordberg.
And that's the one thing, I mean, without any banking, if you send it into a corner, the banking's not going to help you, obviously, at like other tracks like Bristol where it's insane, or, you know, like Auto Club. So we might just, you know, have some people that are going to send it onto the inside, but lose grip on that inside line and end up just as, you know, Ben Neller and everyone else here.
That'll be our first caution of the evening. Multiple things kind of happening at once, but the field has been grouped back up here. You can see some of the early movers. Edward Sanchez, Dylan Godinez, Wesley Shaw, Ryan Whitlock, Lee Kane, some of the big movers early. A lot of cars that did not qualify well moving up through the field. Pace car going to peel off. Alif and Hall in the restart zone for the first time tonight. Going to get back on the throttle, and we're racing once again at the Magic Mile. And we're going 3 wide into turn 1.
Oh!
And bumper cars, DeWale gets turned. And that'll bring out the caution immediately. He got cue-balled by the 58, although someone got into the back of Kaler. Let's see if I can figure out who got into the back end. That was a 3 or 4 car chain that all piled in.
As I say, that was an ultimate domino effect.
Yeah,
Where
no
just
kidding.
it was literally 3 cars bumped off each other, the whale goes around, and then even more cars go around as an effect of that.
And that is a tough break for the 519. Was running in the top 10. And just nowhere to go as everyone went really confident in the turn 1. And not everyone was able to make it stick. Looks like multiple cars coming down to actually get damage repair. DeWale amongst them. It also looks like the 2 of Kelton Quick, the 808 of Dylan Godinez. But let's take a look here and see what happened. It all kind of starts deeper in the field here. Oh, yeah, so Kaler definitely gets into the back of the 519. Although I think he has some help from 222 of Austin DeLong.
And I mean, everyone's trying to take advantage of these restarts, and yeah, and Kaler just gets hit from behind from Austin DeLong, and ends up making Zach DeWale go around. Edward Sanchez also collected, and then I think there's some after effects to this as well, including Kelton Quick.
Oh, there's got to be. Everyone's scattering down to the inside, but yeah, that was a tough situation there for the 519. He was on the inside of 3 wide. And just got launched. The 519 going to peel off down pit road. Damage has been repaired, it looks, for the most part, on the St. Clair College machine. Sounds like, it sounds like the 222 of Austin DeLong just got the brakes locked up going into 1, just kind of slid further than he would have liked. Got Kaler got into the whale, and that started the process. So they're going to rejoin the pack here. And we'll be getting ready to go back racing again in just a moment as we are side by side. Already some early cars down a lap. Zach DeWale, Connor Zabosian, Alex Finnerty, Kelton Quick, Austin DeLong, and Dylan Godinez all scored 1 lap down. Matthew Nordberg scored 4 laps down. So some drivers running into some issues early on in this one. We'll see if we can get through the opening set of corners this time around. They were able to do it just fine on the opening drop with the green flag. That restart a little dicier, and you can see the field stacking up, ready to go. Green flag back in the air.
Our Muhammad Alif gets an amazing jump yet again, but now Jake Hall doesn't get as good as a jump and now has to defend to the outside, but it looks like he's able to clear Esteban Munoz as they're 3 wide for 4th.
Boy, Reese Bayham just got eaten alive by the field. He was just trying to run his line, and no one gave him a lick of space. Esteban Munoz is going to capitalize. So is Cummings and Moody, Halterman, and Ricky Paz are the 3 who restarted in row 2. He's going to have to settle right at the tail end of the top 10 here as we get back to racing. He's currently scored in the 8th position, just ahead of Drew Williams and teammate Logan Smith in the Auburn number 34. What a sequence that was. The 3's lucky he's still pointing the right direction as everyone was bouncing off him. That was certainly a unpleasant experience, I'm sure, if you're Reese Bayham.
Yeah, especially, first couple races here in the CIL. Reese probably got the most tension he's going to get for the entire race and maybe the entire season just there. So he's going to try and settle in here, and he's got at least a teammate around him to kind of help him from behind. But currently getting under attack from Drew Williams on the inside from Clemson.
Yeah, so Clemson and Auburn going at it here. A couple of big Southern schools duking it out for the 8th and 9th position. Also 2 contenders in that alumni division. You see now Logan Smith trying to roll that outside. Kaler inviting door-to-door just behind him for the 11th position. That's a really good battle that's unfolding. And also just kind of keeping an eye through the field. We got a lot of cars all still kind of stacked up. No one able to really get any separation as we jump up to Clint Halterman here, who's right in behind this battle of Ricky Paz and Jake Cummings, trying to find his way around the 19 from ECU.
And, I mean, we brought Martinsville up in the pre-race show. I mean, you're going to see a lot of, one-line racing here at New Hampshire, but it's going to offer a lot more opportunities. You see Ricky Paz hit the wall hard. He's going to lose that position out on Clint Halterman. But back to what I was saying there, you're going to see a lot of people try to take this preferred line diamonding the corner, and sometimes when you get pushed out of that groove, it's going to cause a lot of problems. Ricky Paz is currently in that situation as he hit the wall and is now trying to make a battle back with Clint Halterman.
He's going to do just that. The 19 gets alongside here in 3 and 4. They both move up a lane. At ECU, Camaro got a pretty good run to the center of the corner. He's still going to be right to Halterman's outside as they roar down the front straightaway. So we're watching on board here from the roof cam of Drew Williams. A little bit of contact between Halterman and Paz. A great scrap going on here for P6 and 7. And now it looks like Paz might be clear. Halterman going to close the gap just temporarily to hold on to P7.
And it looks like Drew is committed to this outside lane against Clint. And it looks like he's going to be able to get to at least the corner panel, but Clint's going to use that inside line, get in front of him and back in the line. So now we have it single file for it looks like the top 10 or so.
Yeah, everything is kind of settled in a little bit here inside the top 10. More action deeper throughout the field, but it looks like this lead group has kind of found their rhythm, found their line.
Whoa.
And this is a little bit of 3 wide action cars bouncing off each other deeper in the field. That is Ben Neller, who's trapped in between Wesley Shaw and Zach DeWale right now. More contact between Shaw and Neller. It is one heck of a battle going on here. There's the onboard of the 79, who's already had an eventful start to this race. And as we make our way to lap 20, I mean, these guys are going all at it in the middle of 3 wide again as the Kettering machine takes a look to the inside.
Right now, Ben Neller's just kind of stuck and can't go anywhere. Now he's able to get up to that high line and at least get himself out of calamity with, car to left and right of him. I think he might be clear all around now, so Neller can probably take a little bit of fresh air for Ball State.
Yeah, just able to settle in enough here to jump on board, looking off the rear view, seeing what we see behind him. And what do they see? It's the 72 of Connor Zabosian, a car that is not actively on the lead lap, nor was Zach DeWale for that matter. Those are two cars who are trying to get their lap back. Neller currently on the lead lap, scored in the 22nd position. So had an interesting start to this race, was a part of that first incident with Edward Sanchez and Matthew Nordberg. So 22 laps complete here so far at New Hampshire. The time actually going rather fast, I'd say, in the early going laps whenever they've stayed under green. Muhammad Alif holds on to the lead by about half a second over Clemson's Jake Hall. Alif, a multi-time winner in this series. He loves these smaller flat tracks. He's won multiple times at Phoenix, which has some similar properties to a place like New Hampshire. And I'll tell you what, Jake Hall there for Clemson running in P2. What a day it's been so far for him. Qualified in the front row and has been in the front row ever since. He's having a really strong run in that number 98 Ford Mustang. And then just behind him, it's Esteban Munoz currently leading the alumni division. You'd think he'd like to get back to victory lane in the worst way. He has one career CIL victory. Came all the way back in season 5 at Talladega. Would love to pick up win number 2. And then just behind him, you've got Lucas Moody, last week's runner-up and a playoff contender from the season prior. That first win is coming for the 13. Today could be the day. A lot of fun stories to keep an eye on here in this top 4, top 5. And it is really interesting to see how this is going to shake itself out, Brad.
And as you say that, here comes the caution.
Oh, no. What have I done? That's Dwayne Young, the Kettering machine, number 45, into the inside wall. Pretty looking car, although it does look a little dented up.
Well, we'll see what causes those dents here in a second. I do agree with you, Alex. That's a nice car.
All the Kettering drivers in the field have put on some really nice paint schemes this year. I really like what they brought, but looks like the 45 just gets loose running through the corner. Lost the back end, tagged the inside wall, and was, I guess, just enough on track to have that register as a yellow.
Luckily for the 45, I mean, as you can see, he barely hits that inside wall, so really the only thing that's probably hurt on his car is the tires, as he, flat spotted them, trying to save the car a little bit. The Kettering machine's going to have to get back to pit lane and put some new fresh rubbers on that 45 and see where he can take them.
That was just a classic case of getting into the corner and having the back tires trying to outrun the front. As we see pit stops underway for more or less the first time today amongst a lot of those cars inside the top 20. Not everybody made their way down pit road, but quite a number of. Looks like Jake Cummings will be the first one from that group off pit road, then Williams, Halterman, and Bayham, the first 4 of those who did pit. I would say about 2 out of every 3 cars from the top 20 ended up coming down pit road that time around.
I mean, there's already some pit strategy being called here. It's only been, it's not even been a third of the race. We're, it's just over a sixth of the race, really. So I think, Muhammad Alif, Jake Hall, these guys up at the front are going to have to try and now take on the tire advantage and see if they can keep in front. But it looks like they're going to have a buffer with a lot of other guys who are able to stay out and try and, test their luck against some of these other fresh tires.
Yeah, so we'll see where they officially score. I believe Jake Cummings, who was the first car who did pit and then get off pit road, is scored in P12 right now. So there's 11 cars who stayed out. Some of those, including incredibly quick cars, are Muhammad Alif, Jake Hall, Esteban Munoz, Lucas Moody, who are all in the top 4, Ricky Paz in that group as well. Then a few more trying to get some track position, guys like Ben Neller, Zach Tallman, Ethan Decatur, Lee Kane. So it'll be interesting to see how quickly these new tires work on through. I mean, 26 lap fresher tires is going to be significant. And I have a feeling we'll see guys like Jake Cummings and Drew Williams make short work of those who stayed out on the older tires, because that is a pretty hefty tire differential. We're going to ride on board here with Jake Cummings for the restart. Green flag back in the air, and going all the way around the 111. They did not get going in that outside lane, and he immediately jumped the 111. Here's what fresh tires are going to do here at New Hampshire. We'll see how it shakes out.
And that is legal. I mean, passing to the outside on these restarts is legal. It's when you go onto the inside of any car, that's when it becomes a problem. And as you can see, Jake Cummings takes full advantage of that and is now looking to the inside of Ben Neller and is able to slide in there, but slides right up, and Neller's able to keep the position for 8th.
Good little duel here. Jake Cummings, though, you can tell there's a little bit more bite getting off the corner in the 95 than there was the 79 that time around. Gets under both Neller and the 124 this time. There's a little battle on screen. Jake Cummings on your left, Ben Neller on your right as the 95 just about clear of the 79 here, diving into 3, now alongside Nick Stockner in the 124.
And I mean, when you're on these old tires, these guys are going to have to either hope for a caution or do what they have. They, chose to stay out. They dealt their hand, and now they're going to see what happens. And as you can see, Jake Cummings is going to take full advantage as we have a caution now.
Oh, yeah, caution's out. Lee Kane from Southern Mississippi around at the exit of turn 4. He was one of those cars who did not stop for tires. And potentially some issues there in that speed differential, or maybe just lost a handle on the car. We'll see on the replay. But the Southern Miss Golden Eagle facing the wrong way. There he is in the 16. Whitlock and Leclerc in the vicinity as well. Oh, yeah. The speed differential nowhere for the 161 to go, and the 16, the unwilling recipient of a shot to the rear corner panel.
I think the 16 looked like he was getting a little loose coming out of the corner, had to check up a little bit, and obviously Athena on her fresh new tires definitely was not thinking she was going to see a checked up car here coming out of turn 4.
Yeah, so we'll see. I mean, this is, the lap prior. We'll see how quickly Athena gains ground. There we go. Here's 3 and 4 this time around. And you'll see the 16 just gets all bottled up coming off of turn 4. And just, gets a piece of the 16 coming off the corner.
Athena did a great job not throwing that car back up into traffic. Looked like a bunch of cars just blew on by her. And, I mean, the one thing, too, is that it looked like Ryan Whitlock was also, on the outside, and I think Lee Kane didn't have the line to stay alongside, so he had to check up, and obviously I think that might have also helped create the situation here.
Yeah, I think you might be right, because it did look like from where the 81 was exiting, it would be tough for the 16, especially on those older tires, to get that car to rotate at the speed he was going, so probably bottled up just a hair. That was just enough for there to be an issue between the two cars. So you'll see Connor Zabosian gets the free pass here for Kettering. He'll be the 33rd and final car on the lead lap at the moment of the 39 cars in the field tonight. I think just about everyone's still on track with the exception of 3. That is Matthew Nordberg, Kelton Quick, and Austin DeLong, all officially out of this race at this point. Muhammad Alif has led... from the whistle so far, he's led each of the opening 32 laps now. But he'll have a new contender on his outside. Brad Esteban Munoz going to restart on the front row for the first time tonight.
Munoz is definitely someone who is fast. If you see him in your rear view, you get a little intimidated, but Muhammad Alif is someone I don't think you can really shake. So if Munoz is going to try and take this lead, I think he's going to either have to wait for Alif to make a tiny mistake or really force the issue on these old tires. But I don't know how much you want to force it, especially considering Jake Cummings is now in 7th, 3 rows behind you.
Most positions gained. That pit strategy has worked out big time for the 71 of Zach Tallman. Up 20 spots. Ethan Decatur, Nick Stockner, Ben Neller, and Pete McCallum. All also benefactors of some pit strategy here. Alif and Munoz going to bring him to the green flag. Moody and Hall, Paz and Alec, Cummings and Stockner, Halterman and Neller, your top 10. As the green flag is going to go back in the air here on lap 34.
I think Lucas Moody got a little loose, it looked like, right at the start there, but he's going to be able to get into the inside of Esteban Munoz. Munoz also sends it deep into turn 1, so now it's Ball State trying to make it a 1-2 situation, but I think Munoz is going to try and stop that from ever happening as he's stuck on the outside. And now Moody almost gets in front of Jake Hall, but isn't clear.
Hall got turned. Woo! Put into the wall by Ricky Paz. Are they going to be able to keep this together? Oh, it seems like it, but boy, that was a close call for Jake Hall. He got out of sorts and then ended up in the fence, courtesy of the 19.
And now I think Clemson right there together. I think both of those Clemson cars are looking for a caution or some sort of way to get out of this mess. As you can see, they're just in a bottle of just cars all around. They can't really do anything. As you see now, Jake Hall is stuck to the outside of Jared Kaler. Kaler's trying to battle his way back up to the top 10 with Reese Bauman to that bottom side.
So you see now 2 and 3 wide through the pack as they make their way down the front straightaway. Moody and Halterman get together big time going in the 1. A big discrepancy in line. It's going to cost them both a ton of time. Jake Cummings going to take over 4th. And they'll look to pounce on 3rd here going into 3. Boy, that almost ended really poorly, especially for the 13. He got all types of sideways going into turn 1. And he has got a hornet's nest on his tail now as Williams looks to the inside, and it's 3 wide behind them coming off of 4.
And here's where the action happens. Daniel Nanny, we saw him disappear here beginning of the race after some contact, and now he's battling his way back up through the field. As you can see, he's now found a gap, but he's going to look to the inside of his Ball State teammate here.
Nanny going to lunge in. He's got fresher tires than the 13, and he's going to make sure he knows it. Takes that spot away, will move in to the 6th position on the tail end of Drew Williams now. The top 2 cars yet to come down pit road. Halterman is the fastest running car on new tires, but at this point those tires are also 12 laps old, so you know, a good job so far from Alif and Munoz to hold the field at bay despite not having come down pit road yet. Lucas Moody and Ricky Paz as well also hanging inside the top 10 as they run.
And I think this is going to, obviously, first race here, this is going to give a teaching lesson to really every driver here that even though 26 laps seems like a lot, you know, it's a little over 26 miles, it's not really affecting some of these front runners. As I say that now, Clint Halterman looking to the inside of Esteban Munoz is going to make that move for 2nd and is now eyeing down Muhammad Ali for that lead. Jake Cummings is trying to make suit as well.
See the 95 going to try and follow the 007 through here. Not sure he's going to be able to get it done that time around. It's about a second between Clint Halterman and Muhammad Ali in the lead. No one is better at these flat tracks than the 12 of Alif. And Halterman on fresh tires going to try and make up some ground if he can. Cummings gets around Munoz for 3rd. And now it looks like the 009 starting to have a little bit of issues on those older tires. A couple of the folks on fresh ones have just gotten by and is starting to fall back into the clutches of Clemson's Drew Williams.
And now, I mean, with how many tire sets these drivers have, we're going to have to think, you know, after a certain point, staying out, everyone might be able to come down together. And, you know, this tire advantage isn't really going to work if, you know, these guys can't use it to their advantage. So we're going to see what happens here in the coming laps. But yeah, going on 15 laps on these tires, you can see obviously an advantage, but not a huge advantage, Alex.
Yeah, it has not been as pronounced as I honestly would have anticipated at the start of this race. It might be because the track temp is as high as it is. As you see now, Williams going to take a look to the inside of Munoz here for 5th. You can see the track temp has gotten even hotter since the drop of the green flag, now up to 107 on the asphalt right now. And these guys are burning up the track as we speak. A great battle here for 4th. Williams just barely going to be able to clear Munoz. And now Nanny looks to the inside of Munoz as they go into turn number 3. That 30 machine is following the 100 at every step he's made so far, and the 2 of them are just working their way through this field right now.
And I think Nanny's doing a great job of using that inside line as well. We've seen him go really deep into the inside line here to get past some guys, and also taking it nice and slow as he did there with Esteban Munoz. So I think he's right now taking it easy behind Drew Williams. And as you see, Drew gets a little loose coming out of the corner and is going to invite Daniel Nanny to this battle.
Nanny's going to try and make something happen from the outside here. He's got a nose ahead diving in. The OWR car going to center through the middle, but the number 30 machine for Ball State pulls ahead, and he'll take over 4th place now. So our Muhammad Alif is now followed by 4 cars all on fresher tires. As you see, Nanny takes over 4th, going to try and track down the Converse machine of Jake Cummings. You can see about 4 car lengths up ahead. Some other cars in the top 10 of note, I would say. Garrett Vighton, last week's winner, qualified 16th. He's up to 7th, though. And of the cars on fresh tires, he's the one running 5th. He's having a pretty solid run. And in his CIL debut, Reese Bayham also putting a really solid run together so far for Auburn, currently running in that P8 spot just behind him. You see Vighton going to try and make a look to the inside here. Munoz through 1 and 2.
And both Ford Mustangs powering it down through the backstretch. As you can see the Chevy of Reese Bayham looking behind, trying to see if he can follow Garrett Vighton through in turns 3 and 4. As you see, Esteban Munoz is going to lose out on both of those positions through 3 and 4. Unfortunately, it looks like Munoz is going to be hit with the tire advantage right now. And as we say that, Alex, it's within 5 laps. I think that tire advantage has definitely hit the wall for these guys that did not pit.
Yeah, they're starting to, well, I would say they're starting to fall off a little bit, but, you know, I was looking at the leader. Alif hasn't really lost much of any time, but anyone not named Muhammad Alif is really starting to feel the consequences here of battling cars on 25-lap fresher tires. As you see now, Kaler going to take a look to his inside of his long-time drafting partner at these restrictor plates. The two of them have won so many races at Daytona and Talladega together. And now they're battling here at New Hampshire for the 8th position. Kaler going to try and wrap that inside, take that spot away from the FIU machine, who falls another spot further. And I'm just looking at the timing tower now, Brad. It looks like Clint Halterman starting to make some headway toward Muhammad Alif. That gap is coming down a little bit as Nanny gets around Jake Cummings for 3rd.
And right now, it looks like Nanny's on a mission to get back into the top 1 and 2. We saw last season a lot of Muhammad Alif, Daniel Nanny 1-2 pairings. And Nanny's currently on that mission, and he only has 1 car standing in his way, Clint Halterman. But Clint's been able to get a huge gap to these guys and is actually closer to Muhammad Alif than these two. But right now, I think Nanny has the fastest car on track, really.
Yeah, he is a man on a mission right now. Not to be too surprised. There's a replay here of what could be happening with Keegan Kalick and Ryan Whitlock, who lost it coming off of turn 2. Bounced it into the infield fence. However, because he didn't slide back onto track, iRacing did not deem it to throw out a yellow. So that Alabama Huntsville machine, that Toyota Camry has definitely seen better days, but is certainly trying to muscle on here, certainly in the 31st spot. Still on the lead lap, but definitely not having a great time.
Now looking back up here into the mid-teens, a battle for 14th between Logan Smith, Ben Neller, the Auburn Ball State battle going on through the front stretch. Jake Hall right in front, but it looks like Logan Smith is looking to the inside. Ben Neller leaning a little bit on the Ball State machine, coming through 1 and 2. Neller's not going to give up a fight that easily as he comes out of the corner a little loose, and it's going to give Logan Smith the advantage going down the backstretch. He's going to be able to take that position, and now Jason Wallett's going to look for the 79th position.
76 versus 79 here for position 15 on track. Neller has it, Wallett wants it. As they come roaring back up the stretch, a great little battle through this midfield area. Another car to keep an eye on here as we're running is the 161 of Athena Leclerc, just behind him, currently in the 19th position. Had the end of line from that last caution, but has worked their way through the field to get back inside the top 20 here under green flag conditions. You jump on board there. There is the 76 of Jason Wallett from Drexel University. Been around for a few seasons at this point, but trying to replicate that success he had early on in his CIL career. Had a decent start to the year, I believe, last week, and looking to try and build on it here tonight.
As you say that, he really wants his top 15 position, but now looking at Lucas Moody, who's tracking down Esteban Munoz. Munoz, unfortunately, on the free fall here through the standings, but not very fast. But at the same time, Garrett fighting to the outside of Reese Bayham. Auburn versus ASU.
Bayham going to dive it into the inside. He tried taking that spot away in 3 and 4. There was a little bit of contact between the two. Vighton didn't give up the spot, though. He's going to hold on to P6. And despite the battling, they've reeled in Drew Williams here to try and get to that top 5 position. Arizona State, coming off a win last week, would love to add at least the top 5 to that here, coming off of a run in New Hampshire where he was saying he might need the fuel strategy to give himself a chance here tonight. But on raw pace, he's doing pretty good because everyone in front of him, sans the leader, is on those same tires that he is. We'll jump on board here with Drew Williams off the deck lid, see how this battle's unfolding. It also looks like Daniel Nanny actually about to get around Clint Halterman for second. The 30 has just been flying through this field, and now he'll take that spot away.
Now they're door to door going down the front stretch. Daniel Nanny eyeing up that second position, is going to send it into the inside, but isn't able to clear Clint. Clint's going to try and keep it, but now Daniel Nanny's going to be able to clear the UNC Charlotte machine going down the backstretch, and now it's a Ball State 1-2 as Nanny is now going to try and track down his teammate.
Daniel Nanny setting sail, going to try and find the 12 of R. Muhammad Alif, who's about 2/3 of a second ahead. That battle did not hold up the 30 all that much. And now is going to try and find the lead from his teammate. Ball State has led the opening 55 laps of this race, and that could continue quite a bit more, even if Nanny gets around Alif, as they both are representing the Ball State Cardinals esports program here tonight. Alterman really slid that one in to diamond the corner through 3 and 4, the UNC Charlotte machine. The highest running alumni in the field right now in P3. Jake Cummings, Drew Williams rounding out your top 5. We'll jump on board with Daniel Nanny as he might be able to get the pass done next time around the track, Brad.
Looking right to the back bumper of R. Muhammad Alif. There's some lap traffic looking ahead, but currently Daniel Nanny's going to try and take this away from R. Muhammad Alif. I mean, he has been able to track half a second down within a lap, really, using this really low line. And he's still going to diamond that corner and get to the inside of our Muhammad Alif coming out of 4. And it looks like some lap traffic up ahead is maybe going to make a pick and move roll. Oh, nope, never mind. Alif's going to be able to get in front of Daniel Nanny going into 1.
Yeah, Alif was just able to get down in front of the 30 before he got to the back bumper of Ethan Decatur. And now a little bit of contact between Nanny and Alif. The teammates going at it coming off of turn 2. Alif's got the lead, but that doesn't matter that his teammates got it. Daniel Nanny about to take it away. He's going to get a nose maybe to the corner. Gets him a little out of sorts again. Clipping the wall just a hair. Boy, this has been a physical battle for the lead between these two teammates. And Nanny going to take over at the point now.
Alif is using everything he can out of these tires. You saw him just absolutely wheeling the heck out of that car, trying to keep that lead away from his teammate, but Daniel Nanny with that tire advantage is able to take that first position away. Still a Ball State 1-2, but now we have a new leader, Daniel Nanny, but Clint Halterman is now within the picture of the top 2.
Yeah, Halterman should be able to reel in Alif here with relative ease, I'd imagine, given that he's still on those fresher tires. A little more lap traffic up ahead could be interesting to see if it holds up the leader at all. Can't imagine it will. Those cars are catching up to right now Jack Wilson and Roger Primo. The cars that Daniel Nanny going to try and traverse here in just a second. We've also got a little bit of a battle deeper in the field, as it looks like Reese Bayham has maybe caught up to the back bumper of Drew Williams. He was right there a second ago. Jared Kaler in the mix as well. And something has happened to Garrett Vighton. He's been shuffled back to 8th. With that Auburn machine and his CIL debut lurking on the back bumper of Drew Williams right now.
And I mean, Drew has not seen Reese. I mean, in the DIL debut, this is the first time Drew's getting a feeling out of Reese, and it seems like Reese is here to play. As you can see, the Auburn's taking up the whole rear view of that Clemson machine, and now Jared Kaler's going to join the party. Going to look to the inside of Reese, but not going to get a nose in, so it's going to be single file for these three. Garrett Fighton might join this little train as well, but right now, Reese Bayham is currently trying to get around Drew, but Drew's not really giving him any options.
And a very interesting thing to note here as we're watching this battle, hypothetically, this is the part of the race where if you have not pit yet, or even if you have, I suppose, if you were to pit now, you would have enough gas to make it to the end, potentially. Fuel window was 85 to 90 laps, or about 87 from the end, I believe, from this point in time. So if quick math serves me right, you could theoretically try and make it. I doubt anyone would come down pit road now, just with the nature of still so much of this race to go, and you don't want to have to try and stretch 90 laps on that final set of tires. But we are within the window, you could say, as this battle continuing here between Williams and Bayham. Nice little scrap for fifth. Add Kaler inviting into the mix. We got a 4-car battle for the top 5 spot.
No one's really got away from each other. It seems like these 4 drivers are within the same amount of distance as the last 3 laps. Kaler is now to the inside of Reese Bayham, is sliding right up to him door to door, and now Kaler has the nose in front coming out of 2, and is going to be able to keep the momentum. That UNC Charlotte machine, we always see Kaler be able to do. Mr. Consistency is going to be able to do what he wants, and definitely right now he is trying to get around the Auburn machine. And I mean, Auburn's Reese Bayham is not letting him go easily, but it looks like Kaler is slightly in front of Reese. But it looks like going into turn 1, Reese is going to send it on the outside. Kaler's going to use that inside line to get right in front of the 3 machine.
So Kaler, a very hard-earned pass to take over the 6th position. Bayham will get right to his back bumper. And one thing that's worth noting here is they're trying to get around the lap car of North Georgia's Jack Wilson. Is that we're watching this battle, including 5th through 8th, but that car in 9th, just a couple seconds behind, is Zach DeWale, who has had quite a day already. Was in the top 10, ended up in the wall, had to get damage repaired, was a lap down, and has now found himself back in the top 10 here. What a drive back to the front for the St. Clair College number 519. DeWale's won in this series multiple times before, and he's showing a little bit of why right about now. This has been a very inspired drive back to the front.
And obviously because of that contact before, he went to the pits in lap 10, as you see some drivers hitting the wall coming out of 4 there. But DeWale, as you see, went into the pit stop on lap 10. I don't know if he got tires, but he could much as well be on the same tire set as Munoz, Moody, and Jake Hall behind him, and really trying to stretch this thing out.
So as this race is unfolding, next time by we'll hit lap 68. That's a 151 lap race. This is the Garage Shop College Cup Series. You're watching the New Hampshire Brew Blitz 151, presented by Hex and Hop. This has been quite a battle unfolding so far. A very long green flag run over this past, Brad, about 40 laps or so. Has really been putting the field on notice here about who has taken care of their stuff to this point. And we're seeing some big movers through the field. Vighton's up quite a few. Edward Sanchez up a few. Doesn't say that DeWale's up a lot, but he's had to gain a lot of positions back. As you look to see him go by Roger Primo, one of the lap cars there. And Daniel Nanny up in front by just over 3 seconds now. He is setting sail, and it's not the first time we've seen the 30 dialed in at one of these tracks. Oh, contact Lucas Moody, Esteban Munoz. That almost got really nasty.
We tuned in right when it looks like both of these guys are getting a little scrappy. They're both on that opening tire set, so both of these guys don't have the ideal tires for the lap 70, but they're making it work and trying to make it to their next pit stop. And it looks like right now Lucas Moody is trying to look to the backside here of Esteban Munoz. But further back, it looks like Logan Smith has caught up to Jake Hall, and now also Edward Sanchez joining that battle for 12th. As you see, Sanchez gets loose out of 2.
A great little battle here. Diving into the corner, Logan Smith, Jake Hall. Sanchez goes all the way up the hill. He ends up in the fence. The Baruch College machine getting every bit of pavement there through 3 and 4. And there is Edward Sanchez on your screen. The Baruch College driver gets a run there on Jake Hall. What a run up to the back bumper. Now to the inside of the 98. Oh, he got big time squirrely through the center. Car didn't like that. He is pushing that thing to the limit right now.
You can tell he's fighting this car, and I think his facial expression will show you that as well. He's definitely trying to make the most of these tires, but I think everyone on track right now is trying to battle this car on this 7-degree banking that New Hampshire offers. And as you can see right now, Jake Hall, Edward Sanchez, and everyone here really losing it going through these turns.
Yeah, and you know, this setup was already fairly tight when conditions were ideal. I don't think it gets any looser once you start putting 70 laps down on some of these tires like Edward Sanchez has. So he is really fighting that race car right now as we jump up to this battle. Jared Kaler and Drew Williams. This is the battle for 5th. Kaler has very slowly but pretty consistently been picking off drivers in the top 10 here over the past 20 laps. Every few laps he gets up to the next guy and might have a run here at the 100 as Williams just barely clips the wall. They're coming up on a little bit of lap traffic that could play into it as well. That's Zach Tallman in the 71. And speaking of lap traffic, tell you what, Daniel Nanny is only, there's only 23 cars left on the lead lap here. Or actually, sorry, you can make that 22. Daniel Hunter for St. Clair College, the 22nd car, the last one on the lead lap right now. It is quite the performance so far on this green flag run as Kaler going to sneak on by Drew Williams, and he'll take over the 5th spot.
And I think Jared was able to use that lap traffic to his advantage. Obviously, a little pick and roll happening here in the CIL. As we say that, looking at Clint Halterman, Muhammad Leaf, this is the battle for the 2nd position. Clint Halterman to the inside, diving it in there, turn 1, able to make the move and make it stick as he's going to come out of turn 2 and still a little loose. Both of them loose coming out of the turn. Thankfully for Halterman, he's able to clear Muhammad Alif, and I think both of these guys just want to see some fresh tires.
Yeah, they certainly do. Alif especially, because at least for Halterman, his tires are only 50 laps old. Alif's, theirs are 75. He started with that set of tires, but he's been doing such a good job managing them to this point that he's still running inside the top 3, despite everybody else inside the top 10 who have not come down pit road yet. I guess compared to Esteban Munoz, he's the only other guy who hasn't pit yet in the top 10, but he is 10th. But even still, they've been doing a phenomenal job keeping themselves in the hunt here. And Halterman now in 2nd, going to try and find Daniel Nanny, but I mean, best of luck to him. He's 5.8 seconds behind the 30 car.
Yeah, and we know once Daniel Nanny gets some fresh air, it seems like he's just a rocket ship, and it's so hard to track him back. And yeah, like you said, 5.8 seconds is nothing close, really, especially here in the CIL. So we're gonna see if Clint Halterman's gonna be able to track down Daniel Nanny organically, or if lap traffic might be able to help him. But right now, it looks like Clint Halterman, Muhammad Alif are gonna have to try and make their way through these lap traffic cars, and Jake Cummings is also back there trying to sniff down these two.
Yeah, Alif did a phenomenal job keeping these tires alive. As you see, Esteban Munoz here in a little battle with a couple of cars. That's Edward Sanchez and Logan Smith trying to find their way on by. The 26 from Baruch, door-to-door with Munoz there for FIU in the 009 through 1 and 2. That 34 from Auburn, Logan Smith just behind, waiting in the wings, seeing where he's going to be able to capitalize. Munoz got a big piece of the wall. Smith will fly on by. Hall will fly on by. And here comes Ricky Paz coming into the mix as well. That was a big-time mistake for Esteban Munoz. Going to cost him a few positions. Can't imagine that car is happy right now with those tires now pushing almost 80 laps on him.
Yeah, I think Munoz is definitely going to have to pit here sooner than later. I mean, the pit window is open right now. These especially these guys that have not changed any tires yet. It's definitely over halfway through the race, and you want to get those fresh tires, but the more you stay on these tires, the fresher the next set are. But as you see, it looks like Ricky Paz is going to use the lap car as a little buffer here as Munoz sends them.
Oh, now the 88 all out of sorts. Boy, that almost got really ugly.
Oh, there's a caution.
Oh, but now there's a caution, but it wasn't from what we were just watching. I believe it was the 45 of Dwayne Young down the front straightaway. I think him and Wesley Shaw got tangled up. So while we go to find that replay of what happened to Dwayne Young and Wesley Shaw, tell you what, Brad, that was a fun stint there. That was 50 laps, but that bails out a lot of drivers who have yet to come down pit road.
I think, yeah, really.
Here's the replay.
Wesley Shaw on the inside, Dwayne Young to the outside. You see Shaw slide up the track, a little bit of contact coming out of 4. Still side by side. Ooh, a little too much of a side draft as Dwayne Young goes around hard into the inside wall.
Yeah, they were definitely going at it in 3 and 4, and then they just ran out of real estate going down the front straightaway. Couldn't really tell from that angle, but it seemed like potentially the 73 drifted up the track a little bit. I tell you what, this is a perfectly timed caution for so many cars in this field. Basically, the entire field is on pit road right now, Brad.
Yeah, I think maybe the only people that aren't are maybe some wave around cars that are doing about anything to get back on the lead lap. As you see just just right around the front hood of Wesley Shaw goes Dwayne Young. And to everyone's pleasure outside of Dwayne, everyone gets a new fresh set of tires, and it's going to be able to try and maybe shake it up here going into the second part of this race. Can't really call it the second half because they got past that point.
Yeah, we are definitely into the back half of this race at New Hampshire so far. A nice little, say, 50-lap stint or so on that set of tires. Plenty enough to put wear and tear on both the cars who pit at lap 26 and then those who did not. And there was only about 20 or 21 cars or so still on the lead lap when the caution hit. So a few cars going to take the wave around here. See a bunch of them go on by. And that will cycle Daniel Nanny and R. Muhammad Alif back to the front of the field. Jake Cummings, Clinton Halterman. Row 2, Kaler and Williams, DeWale and Bayham, Vighton and Moody. Your top 10. I think very notably for a couple of cars who had really good long-run pace there, like Edward Sanchez and Athena Leclerc, this is a big caution to get them some track position that they desperately needed back.
Yeah, definitely to that. I mean, sorry, I got thrown off by the one extra lap of caution here, folks. So it looks like they'll go one more time around before the green drops here. But yeah, I mean, I think everyone's kind of on a fresh slate now. They all understood what the tire wear is going to be, what the racing is going to be. So I think in these final 68 laps, you're going to see a lot more aggressive moves and a lot more I think people are going to rely more on the car than they're driving at some points.
Yeah, I would agree with that. And as I'm looking at the field, Brad, it looks like unofficially 20 cars remain on the lead lap. So about half this field still on the lead lap. The other half, one lap down or more. Several cars out of this race. The 3 we had mentioned at the top of the show, DeLong, Quick, and Nordberg. You can also add Carter Capini, Nathaniel Crone, and Lee Kane to the list of cars for sure who have the DNF this year. The Magic Mile has not disappointed so far in its debut, but we still have a long way to go before we get to the finish of this one. Pace car going to slide it back down pit road. Green flag back in the air, and the Ball State teammate's going to launch it into turn 1. did not get a great launch there, did the 12, and that's going to open the door for Jake Cummings on the inside, and UNC Charlotte going to go at it for fourth.
The UNC, I mean, we really haven't seen Clint and Jared together too much this race, but now it looks like Jared's looking to the inside of Clint Halterman along with Jake Cummings, Armaham Alif, 3 wide for 7th. There's a lot going on, Alex.
That there is. Vighton to the inside. Sanchez gets up into the hill. 4 wide, deeper in the field there. Munoz trying to get by Hall as well. Oh,
big
right
contact.
down to the front straightaway. Cautions out. Big wreck on the front stretch. Massive wreck down the front straightaway. You could see that at the tail end of the shot going through 3 and 4. There was some extracurriculars there between Edward Sanchez and Esteban Munoz, I believe. And then that just ricocheted deeper and deeper until Ricky Paz got the worst of it. Or sorry, I think it was Ricky Paz and Edward Sanchez with the extracurriculars. Munoz was below them. And then there was a whole lot to go through here. So let's take a look here and see what happened. You can see they all kind of restarted in the same grouping.
I mean,
already they're getting into each other in 1 and 2, bounced off each other a couple times. It doesn't get any better when they get into 3 and 4.
Going back into some 3 wide action here, and this is where it really all starts from the looks of it. I mean, Esteban Munoz, download, slides up to Ricky Paz. A domino effect sends Edward Sanchez up into the wall, causing the Baruch machine to get a lot more damage than he wants. Jason Wallet takes it 4 wide there. And then at this point, I mean, there's still a 4 wide battle technically happening as Ricky Paz just gets up into the Edward Sanchez, sends it down into Jake Hall. I think Zach Tallman, Andrew Burrell, Ryan Whitlock, just some of the affected.
Yeah, there was quite a few more. Whitlock went for a wild ride at the end of that one. I tell you what, the 81s had a rough day in his return to the College Cup Series. Obviously in the booth last week for the season opener. Was excited to come race here at New Hampshire, and New Hampshire has not treated them too kindly. But a lot of cars just bouncing off each other through 3 and 4 going to lead to that one, and it does appear that Ryan Whitlock out of the car, his day for Alabama Huntsville is going to be over. We're right on board here with the 81. You'll want to keep an eye out, folks, through 3 and 4. That's where everything comes unglued.
You can already see that, just so much happening up to the right of him. And I think right now he's just trying to make sure nothing happens to him. And unfortunately, just the mass congestion to his left. He has to take evasive movers to the right, hits Ricky Paz initially, and then gets some help from, I think, Nick Stockner behind. The slightest tap sends Ryan Whitlock around and into that inside wall.
It has been a very physical day here at New Hampshire. These kind of flat tracks always lead to it. Sometimes you just can't help but, with how tight these cars are, sometimes they just plow up through the center a little bit. And if there's a car to your outside, you can't help but slide up into them a little bit. And I think that's kind of where that began, although there was a lot more that happened afterwards. But if nothing else, that'll be a big relief for Armaham Alif, who did not get a great restart that last time around. He'll get another opportunity to get a crack at it this time. Cummings and Halterman, row 2. Kaler and Williams, the Whale and Vighton. And then Moody and Bayham, their top 10 as they run. Pace car gonna peel off down pit road. And green flag back in the air. I think they got the restart sorted. It looked like Ricky Paz had to get around somebody as they were coming to green on the inside, but I think it was because the car in front of him was a lap down. That was interesting to watch unfold, but we are 2 and 3 wide here down the back straightaway, Brad.
And as the 3 wide goes away, back to some 2 wide action. It looks like Esteban Munoz to the outside of Logan Smith. Some contact going into 3 there. And as you can see now, the 2 Auburn teammates of Logan Smith and Reese Bayham are now linking up and trying side-by-side battle right now. Munoz is going to help Reese out down the front stretch, but pushing him into turn 1.
Door to door they go through 1 and 2. You can see a lot of cars still shuffling for position out on track, including the battle for second. That is Jake Cummings looking to the inside of our Muhammad Alif. The Converse University team versus Ball State. And Clint Halterman lurking in the wings just behind him. Looks like Alif got a great run there. Will be able to hold off for second just for the moment. Cummings not going away just yet, but here comes Halterman rounding the outside.
Halterman gets a little loose out of 2. And it looks like he's going to have to forfeit the 3rd position to Jake Cummings. So now it's a single file line as UNC Charlotte is now having battle for 4th. Clint Halterman to the outside. Jared Kaler peeking to the inside going through 3 and 4. Clint's going to have that a little bit of run coming through the front stretch. Going to be able to clear Jared Kaler. And now the front 6, it looks like they all are able to keep it single files. It looks like Drew Williams was not ready for Kaler's breaking point.
Yeah, that looked to be the case, and that almost could have been a really bad turn of events, but luckily for them, everyone got it sorted. Zach DeWale, Garrett Vighton going the war here. That's the battle for the 8th position. And it looks like there is more cars battling all over this track right now. I mean, there's a good battle happening inside the top 10. Outside of it, there is a lot of cars still shuffling for positions here. As you see Logan Smith and Jason Wallen. I feel like we've seen these two together a lot this evening. And their war continues here for the 13th spot.
Logan Smith is going to use that power from the outside, but Jason Wallet actually has great momentum coming down the backstretch. It's going to send him into turn 3. Logan Smith sends it a little too far as he's up on the furthest line possible. And now Athena Leclerc is going to try and take advantage and see if she can get that 14th position away from Logan Smith.
Not going to do it that time around as we jump back up toward the front. This battle between DeWale and Vighton. Sorry, actually not Vighton, Lucas Moody. Vighton has cleared DeWale on the outside. And now it's the 13 of Lucas Moody trying to pry that 8th position away from the St. Clair College car. Moody, runner-up last week at Charlotte, trying to go back to the podium again here today. Qualified well, has just a few more positions he's going to need to acquire if he's going to get back-to-back podium finishes here. Still looking for that elusive first CIL victory in a fierce duel with 4-time CIL winner Zach DeWale right now as they come off the back or down the back straightaway. Munoz and Bayham going to have an interesting little battle into 3 as well for the 10th spot. So a lot of positions up for grabs here in the back half of the top 10 as we are approaching about 55 to go here from New Hampshire.
Looking back lap 92, I mean, just looking at this 3-wide battle, Ethan Decatur, Zach Tallman, Jake Hall, all battling down the front stretch. As you can see, Jake Hall sends it in there to the inside, and ooh, gets a little contact, sends him almost around. Dwayne Young and some others get some contact. Everyone keeps it forward. Jake Hall, the big loser out of all those little battles.
If I had a nickel for every time an incident happened with Jake Hall tonight that did not result in a yellow that probably should have, I'd have 2 nickels, which isn't a lot, but it's weird that it's happened twice. Unfortunately for the 98, it sounds like he has had to bring that car to pit road to get damage repaired. He qualified second today, had a great start to the race going, but unfortunately things starting to fall apart here for him. There's a little bit of contact between Vighton and Williams. You see Bayham all the way up to the wall. That battle just behind him is going a little crazy too. There is so much to keep an eye on here in the back half of the top 10. As now here comes Kaler trying to hold on to that spot from Jared Vighton, but the ASU machine determined to make it happen on the outside. He is about as high as he's been running all day long. He's up to P6.
And I've seen DeWale take this super low exit out of 2 and 4 since the restart, and it's keeping him in line. Is there a little bit of contact?
Andrew Pearl just got tagged by Keegan Kalick on the back straightaway, and it nearly put the 121 in the fence. We're gonna have to want to pull a replay of this up, producer Christian. That almost, I am shocked that didn't end up in a yellow. Caught that on the other side of my my monitor here, so you'll see as they make their way to the back straightaway, the 29 just gets an absolute handful of the 121. Take a look at this as they come off of 2, folks. I don't know if it was the 121 getting tight and getting a little slowed up. Oh, no, the 29 just got a little bit of the ball, pushed the 121 up, and nearly wrecked Ben Neller in the process. That's another driver who's had a very eventful evening. That was the 79 just getting by, but Burl, you know, obviously bounced it off the wall, but was doing a good job to make sure that car stayed in one direction. That is not an easy feat when you get tagged in the corner like that.
And that's
Ethan Kallick and Andrew Burl probably not going to be sending each other Christmas cards anytime soon.
yeah. Thankfully, Christmas doesn't come for another 11 months, so they might have some time to repair that relationship. But looking back here towards the front in the top 10 battle right now, Zachary DeWale getting a handful of that car, trying to get around Lucas Moody. Lucas Moody is holding that 7th position as hard as he can, coming out of 2, and is now able to clear Zach DeWale by a couple car lengths going into 3 and 4. Reese Bayham is now looking for the 8th position, but really, I feel like in this top 10, at any point, there's a battle.
You see the Whale getting down to the inside line, trying to find his way around Lucas Moody. Not sure if he's going to be able to do it this time around, door to door, as they make their way back into 3. St. Clair down low, ball stayed up high. Still trying to get that one sorted out. A little bit of contact, a little bit of a door-to-door situation there coming off of 4. Boy, I tell you what, both of these guys relentless in their pursuit to hold on to P7 right now. They are not giving each other an inch.
And I think Lucas is holding that line that he wants, and I think Zachary DeWale's making it work around this ultra-low line and staying to the inside of the Ball State machine, using all he can in that Chevy 519 car. As you can see, he's hitting like the pit road. Is that the stripe? Entry line, it would be where the commitment cone, I'm pretty sure it would be. So he is using everything he can. As you can see, the car gets a little wobbly through 1 and 2, and it's still wobbly coming out of 2.
Well, he slid that bad boy up to the wall off of 2. He kept it off the fence, but it's going to open the door for Reese Bayham to try and find a spot to the inside. Auburn going to try and take away that 8th position if they can. Not quite going to be able to do it that time by, but he's still going to have a nose to the inside. Oh, wow. 519 drove it in real deep. St. Clair going to hold on to that spot for now. It's been a phenomenal scrap here inside the top 10, really, since the restart. Although at this point, the field's starting to settle in a little bit. And this is the moment where, when you've seen how hard some of these cars have battled, you wonder if they're going to have enough tire to make it to the end of this thing without losing too much track position. Because some of these cars have just been able to drive, set their own pace, and cruise. But meanwhile, we're getting this little battle here. Drew Williams, Jake Cummings. Going to put on a bit of a show here for 4th, as Cummings shuts the door on Williams as he looked low.
Going down the backstretch here, I mean, you could tell that each and every single one of these guys are trying to find a lane to battle with outside of just the preferred line, but it seems like nothing's going really for anyone right now. Drew is really antsy and is going to use that momentum coming out of 4 to get a nose to the inside of Jake Cummings. Cummings is going to be able to jump into that turn and close the door, and Williams is going to sit back and let the momentum shift his momentum going to the backstretch here.
Oh, great battle here as Williams going to try and drive it in deep, but how far is he going to take it? Little bit of contact between the two as the 100 slid up the track. Jake Cummings, though, still has a nose to the outside. Williams wasn't able to clear that time around. He's going to try and drive it in as far as he can here. And now Williams will take over that 4th spot. And this has opened up the door for Garrett Vighton, Lucas Moody, and more to get right into the mix here to try and battle for P5. Just a freight train roaring down the back straightaway.
I was going to say, if Drew and Jake Cummings make one mistake, it looks like there's about 5 people ready to try and make it their way up to the top 4 or 5. As you see, Zach DeWale is now looking to the inside of Lucas Moody yet again. This battle seems to never end. These first opening laps here since the caution.
Yeah, they've been really going at it. She's Zach the Whale contact.
Whoa!
Oh, he's hit the wall. Him and Lucas Moody sideways on the back straightaway, and that's going to bring out a yellow. Boy, they had been racing each other so hard, and it ended up the way a lot of hard racing does, with two cars pointed the wrong direction. Well, that's unfortunate for both of those guys too, because they will not have a ton of time to get that damage repair and get that time back. And they were both running inside the top 10.
I think we kind of saw it all unfold. These guys having the battle for multiple laps now. Zach the Whale looking to the inside. Lucas Moody, just taking, it looks like a lower line than what the Whale was expecting, and that ends up making this wreck happen. As you see, the Whale gets right rear hooked right into the wall. Moody's going to have that damaged front end. That's going to be hard to repair.
Yeah, it certainly is. Well, while we've got a second here, folks, we're going to step away for a quick commercial break. When we come back, the final 40 laps of action here from New Hampshire. You won't want to miss it. We'll be right back.
Racing isn't easy, but experiencing it is. iRacing puts you in the driver's seat with the industry's leading sim racing game. Drive on laser scan replicas of the greatest racing circuits from around the world. Go head-to-head against other drivers chosen by skill-based matchmaking to ensure competitive racing at every level. Compete across all your favorite series. In officially licensed cars, engineered to deliver the most accurate driving experience possible. Join a race or host your own with players from across the globe. Race against the computer or in a league with friends. Feel the thrill behind the wheel. Visit iRacing.com.
When you want to be the best, you can't settle for the rest. For anything on iRacing, there's just one name you need, Makoni.
With the launch of Makoni Entertainment and Makoni Competizone alongside Makoni Setup Shop, we now provide the best of the best in setups, paint schemes, coaching, broadcasting, and event organization.
With cars across all 4 license classes, we have what you need to hit the track with confidence. Grab a subscription and save money while going fast at MakoniSetupShop.com/subscriptions.
And remember, at Makoni Setup Shop, there are setups, but your victories.
All right, folks, we are back. Less than 40. Oh, and they just put the lights back on the pace car. We rushed back from commercial, and they add an extra.
Boo!
That is the nature of things, I suppose, but gives us an opportunity to set the scene, if you will. Less than 40 laps to go. It has been all Ball State so far tonight. They've led each and every lap between Daniel Nanny and R. Muhammad Alif. They also are your front row. The 2 students there in the 30 and the 12. Top running alumni, Clint Halterman in 007 for UNC Charlotte. Running in third where he's been most of the evening. The big question mark to this lead group, I think, is going to be the 161 of Athena Leclerc, who has rallied back big time after an earlier EOL. Got back into the top 4 and will have an opportunity to try and take this spot from one of those Ball State cars up in front of him. Then you've got Drew Williams, Jake Cummings, Garrett Fighton, Reese Braham, Jared Kaler, Esteban Munoz, your top 10 as they sit right now. But everyone is gunning for those 2 Ball State machines up at the front of the field. That is going to be what they'll have to do if they're going to win here tonight. Ball State has been unbeatable through the opening 114. The green flag in the air. Can they bring this thing home and seal what has been an otherwise perfect race for the Cardinals?
Well, right now it looks like Clint Halterman makes quick work of trying to get that 3rd position. Is going to set his sights onto the Ball State machines. You see a lot of people get loose coming out of 2. It looks like Esteban Munoz, Edward Sanchez getting a little frisky back there But right now, Athena Leclerc, Drew Williams battling for fourth. Athena goes up the hill and is going to invite Drew Williams to take that nose up in front. But it looks like Athena is going to... Ooh, I thought she wasn't clear, but she is now in the 5th position.
I was able to sneak in there between Williams and Jake Cummings. The 95 now to the inside of the 42 of Garrett Vighton. The Arizona State machine trying to make something happen on the outside. Started 16th, has gotten all the way up to 6th, and he just has not really been able to find that next step after that. He's been in a good battle, though, in the back half of the top 10 all day. Oh, and the caution's out deeper in the field.
Oh.
Jared Taylor around. And more cars sliding in. Dwayne Young, Lucas Moody sliding in there as well. We're going to have to see how this began, but that is a big shift for the 58. He was running in the top 10 all evening long, and now going to have some serious work to do to get back to the front, but he was by far, far from the only car involved.
And I think Lucas Moody is right now adding some more damage to the front of that car. I think that he doesn't want to see. Obviously, I don't think that car drives well already, and that definitely didn't help. But I honestly don't know if I was seeing what anybody else was seeing with Jared Kaler.
Yeah, we'll have to figure out what happened here. Here's the replay. Things already a little bit stacked up. I believe that was on the...
Oh.
It wouldn't have been the restart. That was just as they were going. The next time around, we'll see what happens to the 58. We'll be coming through 3 and 4 in just a moment here. May have started further up in the field. I'm not entirely sure. And here we go in the turns 3 and 4. Kaler with a really deep drive in. Looks like he locked up the brakes a little bit. And then, gets into Esteban Munoz and gets sideways right in front of the field here. An uncharacteristic mistake there from the multi-time College Cup Series champion.
It's surprising. I mean, other than what we saw at the very end, it doesn't look like a lot of other cars got collected in that too bad. As we see the parking lot there.
Yeah, a few cars got jostled up in it a little bit, but most looked like they were able to avoid until we got to Dwayne Young and Lucas Moody right at the tail end of that. Daniel Hunter also went for a bit of a ride through the infield grass. Let's see if we can jump on board with the 49 real quick. There is Daniel Hunter. So he's at the tail end of this. You can see everyone wrecking up in front of him. Oh, and he just gets a shot from the rear end there as he tried getting slowed up to avoid all of that. Not much you can do there. He did what he needed to do, but...
Well, looking to the final 32 laps here, Alex. Pace lights are off. Ball State has led every lap of this race. Clint Halterman, Drew Williams, Athena Leclerc round out your top 5. Green flag is in the air as Daniel Nanny gets a huge jump going into turn 1.
Yeah, great launch for him. He'll jump right up in front of his teammate there in a leaf. Halterman and Williams door to door for 3rd. They're going to try and get that one sorted out through the middle of the corner, but they're not going to be able to settle it by the exit of turn 2. And this side-by-side continues really all the way through the top 15 as they try and jostle for position here late in this race. Munoz up the hill, tags Logan Smith. He ran out of space trying to get around the 34 as the 95 was right in front of him as well. And now the FIU machine going to try and fall back in here. He's in the 10th spot. Logan Smith running as high as he has all day, currently in P9.
And we've been talking all about Ball State and St. Clair and UNC Charlotte, but Auburn's quietly having a great day now with 2 cars in the top 10. As you see now, Athena Leclerc to the inside of Jake Cummings, and now Munoz to the backside of this battle as well. It's a lot going on here in this little 5-car battle for 6th. It looks, 6th it looks like.
So Cummings will clear Leclerc for now. Converse holding on to that spot there in 7th. Logan Smith going to try and get to the outside corner of the 161. Going to be just a tad behind him here. As they go in, in contact there. I believe that's DeWale and Munoz. Zach DeWale on the rebound again here. He's back into the top 10, 3 wide with Munoz and Edward Sanchez up high. The 95 did not have a great set of corners. He's about to get swallowed up here by Logan Smith and Nathaniel Leclerc. Smith to the outside in the 1. 3 wide just behind him, 2. Look at this mess as they try and get through 1 and 2.
And it's hard to commentate over because everything's happening. Still 3 wide between these 3. As you see, Jake Cummings is leading this line, gets a little loose in front of everyone, causing a little more calamity. But it looks like Jake Cummings is now under attack from Logan Smith.
You see here still a little 3 wide action. That is DeWale, Munoz, and Sanchez. Sanchez with a great run off the corner. He'll clear them both. DeWale did not get a great exit. He'll fall to the clutches of Jason Wallet here for the 12th position. Little battle unfolding there. There's now 3 wide still, Munoz and Sanchez. The 2 of them just not able to get separated from one another.
Whoa.
Diving into the corner again. You see this time a bit of a change of strategy. Everything getting stacked up in front of Sanchez. Logan Smith, Athena Leclerc, they're trying to get that battle sorted out for 8th. And that has allowed Edward Sanchez to almost get a run on the St. Clair machine and Athena Leclerc. And, you know, there is a lot of positions trading hands here as next time by, it'll be 25 laps to go here from New Hampshire.
And really, these... Whoa!
Big time slide out from somebody. I think that's Michael James there from Drexel. Nearly ended up in the infield fence. The 99 lucky to catch that one.
Looked like he was just dead center straight for that wall, but was able to save that. Going back up here to the top 6 that have now pulled away from the rest of the field. And there's a battle between Clint Halterman, Garrett Vighton, Drew Williams, and Reese Bayham. As you can see, Ball State's pulling away from these 4, but now it looks like Garrett Vighton's trying to get everything he can out of this car to get into a podium position. But unfortunately, second place finisher last year, Clint Halterman, is going to have a lot to say about that.
Yeah, Halterman running 3rd. Garrett Vighton, last week's winner, on a path to the front here, going to try and get onto the podium for the 2nd week in a row. We talked to him in the pre-race.
As we say that.
Tagged. He got tagged by Drew Williams coming off of turn 2. Heavy contact into the wall. Cautions out. Oh, my goodness. That is unbelievable timing. As we were just talking about, Garrett Vighton on his march to the front got tagged by Drew Williams coming off of turn 2. And that looks to be significant damage for the Arizona State car.
Yeah, it looks like it's, I wouldn't say fatal, but close near to it, with especially only 23 laps to go. Garrett, as you can see up, not happy about what just happened here, but we'll go back to the replay and see what happened here, folks.
So we'll jump to the replay here. I'll jump on board, I believe, with the 100 of Drew Williams. And yeah, just gets right to the back bumper. It looked like the 42 maybe was not carrying the same speed off the corner that the 100 was. Bit of an interesting line, but still, the Clemson car just tagging them right in the spot where the car is the most vulnerable. And that is not only going to potentially be a day ender to the 42, could also be a potential day ender to the 100. You know, the end of line penalty that comes with that. This deep into the race, it's going to be very hard to rebound by the end of this.
Oh, can we get an onboard with Reese Bayham? I feel like Garrett Vighton just went right in front of him. Riding on board with the Auburn machine, you can see right in front of him, this calamity happens, and Reese has to lock up the brakes a little bit. I don't know if he even slowed down, honestly.
I guess he didn't need to. He had that situation handled, but boy, that's one of those. That is one of those Code Brown moments, if I've ever seen one, when a car starts flipping back the other way directly in front of you. But Bayham keeping the nose clean, and because of it, keeping himself in good position here to try and win in his CIL debut. Currently scored in P4 after that incident there between the 100 and the 42. Ball State still up at the front. Daniel Nanny, R. Muhammad Alif, 1-2. Clint Halterman, Reese Bayham, your second row for UNC Charlotte and for Auburn. Jake Cummings for Converse and Logan Smith for Auburn makes up row 3. Athena LeClaire for St. Clair College and Zach DeWale for St. Clair College making up row 4, pair of teammates there. And then Baruch College's Edward Sanchez and FIU's Esteban Munoz, your top 10 as we come to the line. It'll be 20 laps to go when they hit the stripe. Pace car gonna peel off down pit road. Green flag hanging high in the air above New Hampshire Motor Speedway. And here we go, racing once again. Everyone immediately tried jumping to the outside, trying to find some room to gain on the car in front of them. But they're all going to be chasing Daniel Nanny here in 1 and 2.
And it seems like the whole field is side by side. As you can see, a little more action back there. It looks like Ricky Paws got a little loose coming out of 2. But now it looks like Reese Bayham is now looking for a podium position, sending it far too deep into turn 3, and is going to forfeit that 3rd position and now under attack for the 4th position from Jake Cummings.
Yeah, Bayham just got a little higher in that corner than they would have liked. You know, this deep into a race, it's not uncommon. Just get a little over anxious when you try to drive it in, and with a setup as tight as this, you can just slide up the track a little bit more when you like. But he'll settle into P4, and he's going to try and get that spot back from Halterman if he can get back to his back bumper. Clint Halterman has spent most of this day running into 3rd position. He just has not had the pace to pass either of Alif or Nanny, but he's had the pace to keep him within an arm's reach. As you see now, Cummings looking to the inside of Bayham for 4th. This is Converse and Auburn.
Cummings is able to jump it right into turn 1, and it looks like he's going to be able to take that position. So now it's an Auburn 5-6 as they try to battle for it out for the 5th position. But right now they're going to try and track down the rest of these guys in front. As really the whole field, it looks like, has calmed down for these final 19 laps. But, you know, as I'm going to say that, it looks like there's a battle between Logan Smith, Zachary DeWale. DeWale sending it to the inside of the Auburn machine.
You see here, that is that battle for 4th. Cummings holding off. Reese Bayham is, oh boy, Logan Smith, a bit of a blink there. Oh, sideways, back straightaway. ECU facing the fence. Caution is out. Jason Wallet caught up in it as well. Boy, that unfolded in a hurry and in a spot you don't typically see a caution. And there's the onboard of Ricky Paz. He does not look particularly thrilled with that either. 1 second he was pointed down the back straightaway. The next second he was in the wall. I'll have to take a look at the replay and see what happened there. It looked like, from where we were seeing, everything looked fine until it suddenly wasn't.
As you can see the bow coming through turn 2. Ricky Paz on the inside. Jason Wallet to the outside from Drexel. And looks like, yeah, just Ricky Paz drove up into Jason Wallet. I mean, didn't really give Wallet any options except if he wanted the hard break. I think that's the only way that caution would have been prevented.
Yeah, but that's also the thing with that car directly behind him as well. There's really nowhere for Wallet to go. He has the right to be up to the fence there. He had no more room to give, and the 19 just kept moving up. So the ECU Pirates car going to have to come down pit road, get that damage repaired. And now, as we stare down about 15 laps to go, all of the contenders inside the top 10 keep shuffling and shaking there, Brad. But one thing has remained constant, and that's the fact that it has been Ball State dominant so far today up at the front of the field. Do you think anyone in this field has something for them, or do you think they're going to be able to cruise to the win here? I mean, they have looked basically unpassable this entire race. It's been a phenomenal effort.
Yeah, especially considering Daniel Nanny had to battle his way through the field to get back up to the lead. I mean, Really, these two have been a brick wall. I don't think I've seen really anyone take it to Nanny and a Leaf on old tires, yeah, but since these new fresh set of tires and everyone's on the same plane, it seems like no one has been able to really contend. I mean, Clint Halterman, like you said, has always been within an arm's reach, but hasn't really been able to get the job done. And I think right now, obviously, with 14 laps to go, it's the time to get said job done.
Well, yeah, if any of those drivers just behind the Ball State cars have been sitting on anything, now would be the time to try and pull it out because, I mean, everything they've tried so far has been rather ineffective. I mean, these Ball State guys have just been clean and crisp up at the front of the field. There has been basically nothing to stop them, and with both of them up there, they have a great chance at pulling home a Ball State 1-2 today, which would not be the first time we've seen that. Daniel Nanny and Armahan Malik have done that a couple times over the past couple seasons. The real question mark is going to be if Nanny's going to hold on here or if Alif will repass his teammate and get by him for his first win of the season. Pace car going to peel off down pit road. Armahan Alif, Daniel Nanny, the fastest cars all day, restarting in the front row. Who's going to be able to take it here in New Hampshire? Green flag back in the middle.
Nanny's going to be able to clear a Leaf, but Clint Haltman's right up to the back bumper of a Leaf. But now Jake Cummings is also challenging for that last podium position, and that's going to help Ball State as you see some contact with the wall further back in the pack. But right now, Clint Haltman, Jake Cummings, the battle between UNC Charlotte and Converse heading on into the turn 3 and 4. Both of them really door to door, haven't given an inch. Clint Halterman is able to edge it out so slightly and clear Jake Cummings coming out of 4.
And also, take a look there at who's driving in P6. That is the Baruch College machine of Edward Sanchez. It's been an uphill battle for him all day long. Qualified 25th. And now, in the closing laps, he's up 19 spots to be running there.
Oh!
Sabosian into the infield grass. Not going to bring out a yellow, though. We stay green as the Kettering University machine towed back to pit road. And now we're 3 wide with Burrell and company just up ahead. We'll have to figure out what happened to Connor Zabosian, but he slid off the racing line. iRacing didn't register it as a yellow because it was off the racing line. And that was truly, that was something to watch there a lap ago.
Yeah, that was like a rocket just sent down the backstretch, just getting sent. As you can see, Drew Williams now trying to battle his way back up through the field. As Alex said earlier, it's no tall task to try and battle your way through the field, especially with only about 20 laps to go. But he's doing it right now as we're looking further up to the field. Battle for 4th. St. Clair versus Converse. Jake Cummings versus Zachary DeWale. DeWale using that low line that he has been using all day long is going to give him a little bit of a slip coming out of 2 as there's more wreck, it looks like, behind. Not going to bring out a yellow.
Another near caution there coming off of turn 2. The slow car getting back up to speed is Daniel Hunter from St. Clair College. He's going to soldier on. Looks like there was a couple cars a part of that. We continue to stay green. Less than 10 laps to go here from New Hampshire. The action fever pitched here in the top 10. As you see that battle there, Bayham and Munoz door to door. That is the battle for 7th. It's been a physical day all day long for both of these cars. Just up ahead, Sanchez going to look to the outside of DeWale. What a battle we've got unfolding there.
Yeah, and coming to these closing laps, everyone's using everything they got, and Bayham and Munoz have been fast all day. But you see Munoz is now trying to use that outside line to get around Bayham. Bayham slides up into Munoz, gets a little door action there. But Munoz is going to use that momentum coming out of 2 to clear Bayham, and now Bayham's going to have to regroup to get that 7th position away from the FIU machine. As you see, this battle for 4th is still going on from about 5 laps ago.
Yeah, it is. Door to door here. Zach DeWale, Jake Cummings, 2 longtime CIL drivers going at it here. Dead even across the line that time around in this battle for 4th. It's opening the door for Edward Sanchez to find his way by, and the cautions come out. Got to imagine it's out somewhere deeper in the field.
Oh,
Ricky Paz around on the front straightaway. Another odd spot for the 19 to be pointed the wrong direction.
say deep into the front straight. was given that EOL from the last caution. We'll see what happens here. You see some of the Zach Tallman, Nick Stockner, some of the group peers. You see he gets into the backside of Zach Tallman. He's just giving him that bump draft through the front stretch. Must be next time around here.
Yeah. You can already tell things were getting physical deeper in the field, though, just from that early indicators. We'll accelerate the replay here to see what happens as they go into 3 and 4. Oh,
Whoa!
Not that had anything to do with it, but boy, that's a scary moment for the 45. And yeah, just almost looks incredibly similar to the incident with Wallet a couple laps ago.
It is basically the same thing. I mean, the only difference was Tallman wasn't in the wall like Wallet was, but yeah, it's pretty much the same exact thing, just different stretch.
Yeah. I mean, Tallman, could have moved up, I don't know, maybe another half foot or so to get up to the wall. But there is not it looks very carbon copy of what just happened to Paz a moment ago. Yeah, if you're Tallman, how much more can you really move up to the wall there? Up from the sky cam, it certainly looks like he could have moved up a bit more, but from the cockpit, I mean, I don't know what he really was supposed to do there.
Yeah, and I mean, for those who have never raced in iRacing, never sat in any of these cockpits, it's so hard to tell how close you are to the wall if you've never driven one of these cars before. And it, as we said, from looking up top, you have a couple inches from in the cockpit, you already think you're against the wall. So it is no tall task, especially for Zach Tallman, Ricky Paz there, to say that, a couple inches could have been given, but at the same time, there was no... Whoa.
What has happened to Daniel Nanny? Daniel Nanny just put it in the fence under pacing speed. He's going to move back up to the front, but that definitely has to cause some left side damage. What has happened there?
I don't know. Can't tell you that. Feel like that's going to be a post-race conversation, but
there's the replay. Yeah, he just drifts directly into that wall, and that's heavy contact. I mean, there is visible left front damage there to the 30. This is going to make this replay a bit more dicey, I think, than we had taken for granted. Yeah, oh boy. So here we go. When we go green, I think it's going to be 3 laps to go. This is not the green-white checkered. We have one of those accessible should there be a caution here in the next lap or two. But pace car going to peel off down pit road. When they hit the line, it'll be 4 laps to go from New Hampshire. Green flag in the air. Daniel Nanny going to try and nurse that injured Ball State machine to the win. Can he hold on?
Oh, was that the lead?
Leaf got hit by Halterman. Oh, and the field has absolutely gone completely carnaged behind them. And that's going to bring up the caution is out.
Yep, caution is out.
The caution is out, and that is going to force us into a green-white checkered. Boy, that was... Oy, oy, oy.
I think Drew Williams' day just went bad to worse. Esteban Munoz, who we saw was fast all day, also collected in the ending pieces of that crash, but this all started basically from the front.
We're going to have to take a look at that. I mean, that was between the cars running second and third for, I don't know, 65, 70% of this race. I mean, it was Alif and Halterman up front basically all day long. And on that restart, those two found each other somewhere on track going into turn 1, and it just got all types of messed up after that. Let's see what happened here between the 007 and the 12. This is, yes, a little bit of contact there with Halterman. Just got to the corner, it looks like, of the 12. Yeah, just washed up a hair, gets a piece of Alif. Alif, though, with a phenomenal save as they all try to get this thing sorted. But, I mean, just, everyone coming at full speed. Munoz gets loose, gets a piece of Kaler. Kaler and Williams both go around. Miraculously, both Halterman and Alif actually got through that unscathed.
If anything, I think maybe a bent fender, but no one really got anything too substantial here, so everyone's going to be clean from that to go for this green-white checkered.
Well, that's going to be a fascinating turn of events.
Definitely gonna, yeah, shaking up this field.
We'll see how race control handles that situation between the 007 and the 12. I mean, I'd have to imagine it's going to be a penalty against the 007 for washing up and getting a piece of them. But I do see how there could be an argument for a racing incident, but we'll see what they say. This is the one attempt we are going to have tonight, folks, at a green-white checkered finish. If you're not familiar with it, basically they'll take the green with two laps to go on this race. The green flag, the white flag indicating the final lap, and then the checkered. If a caution comes out before then, that'll end the race as well, because we're only doing one attempt at a green-white checkered. So worth noting, folks, while we have a second, because this is the green-white checkered, this green-white checkered brought to you by the McConey Setup Shop, your homes for setups, coaching, paint schemes, and more. You can visit the McConey Setup Shop today. Here we go. Jake Cummings now on the outside of Daniel Nanny. Green-white checkered time in New Hampshire. Green flag in the air for the last time tonight. Can Ball State bring this thing home, or is someone going to steal one at the Magic Mile? A great launch for Nanny going through 1 and 2.
Oh, there's wrecking back further in the field, and that's going to bring a caution out as it's on his roof.
Oh, we are flipping. Esteban Munoz rolling. And that, I believe, is going to do it. Because we only have the one attempt at a green-white checkered. That'll be the white flag lap this time around for Daniel Nanny. So congratulations. The Ball State Cardinal there, Daniel Nanny, I believe, who will be officially scored as the winner of this one. I mean, a dominating effort today, Brad. He led probably the better part of 80, 90 laps here after taking the lead from his teammate. And Nanny gonna cruise on home behind the pace car to a much-deserved first win of Season 12 for him.
Yeah, Ball State showing their dominance early, leading every lap of this race. After last race, they wanted to, I guess, try and lead a whole entire race. They've done it already here in race 2 of the season. So Ball State out here showing everybody they are still to be reckoned with. As you see Zach DeWale give a little bit, have a little fun going through 1 and 2 there.
All right, so that will bring the checkered flag out. You'll see the unofficial results on your screen ticking by on the left. And I'm sure Daniel Nanny will celebrate this thing and burn it down as they get back to the front stretch. Tell you what, though, Brad, what a phenomenal drive from a couple drivers in that top 5, either from rallying up and back through the field like Zach Duell or Athena Leclerc, or someone like Reese Bayham, who in his CIL debut, a very, very strong top 5 finish.
Yeah, and if you're Reese, I don't... Get in the top 5 at a track that we've also never been to. You're showing a lot of people what you can do, especially because, you know, everyone here was fast today. Reese has been in the top 10, it seemed like a majority of the day, but really you can see Daniel Nanny burning it down after his dominating win here at New Hampshire.
That is going to be one heck of a donut he's leaving here on the front stretch, giving every last bit of rubber that's on those rear tires. I'm just going to plant it down. I mean, deservedly so. A phenomenal drive for Nanny here today. And I tell you what, an equally impressive burnout to go with it. So we're going to step away for a second, folks. When we come back, your final results and interviews with your podium finishers will be back in just a moment.
Racing isn't easy, but experiencing it is. iRacing puts you in the driver's seat with the industry's leading sim racing game. Drive on laser scan replicas of the greatest racing circuits from around the world. Go head to head against other drivers chosen by skill-based matchmaking to ensure competitive racing at every level. Compete across all your favorite series. In officially licensed cars, engineered to deliver the most accurate driving experience possible. Join a race or host your own with players from across the globe. Race against the computer or in a league with friends. Feel the thrill behind the wheel. Visit iRacing.com.
When you want to be the best, you can't settle for the rest. For anything on iRacing, there's just one name you need, Makoni.
With the launch of Makoni Entertainment and Makoni Competizone alongside Makoni Setup Shop, we now provide the best of the best in setups, paint schemes, coaching, broadcasting, and event organization.
With cars across all 4 license classes, we have what you need to hit the track with confidence. Grab a subscription and save money while going fast at MakoniSetupShop.com/subscriptions.
And remember, at Makoni Setup Shop, there are setups, but your victories.
Hello, my name's Aaron Brown from the Garage Shop in Denver, North Carolina. We're here at the famous Bonneville Speedway in Wendover, Utah. One of the most harshest environments on the planet to race in, and that's why we need the best tools Snap-on has to offer. What we use here to pump up the oil in our race engines to prime them is this Snap-on screw gun. With its variable speed and high torque, this allows us to spin our oil pumps up to 1,500 RPMs, creating 70 pounds of oil pressure, which helps us get everything settled in, nice and happy, and turn the hot oil through the engine. Compact, lightweight, and able to fit in really tight spaces. Its 9-position clutch allows us to torque things, nuts, bolts, from 8-inch to 50-inch pounds. Small size and high performance helps us get into many places on a race car where normal tools can't. Under the dash and the engine compartment, we also use this to drill a lot of holes in very tight spots.
Alrighty, folks, we are back here after a thrilling conclusion to this New Hampshire Brew Blitz 151 presented by Hex and Hop. This was a stellar race, and the little green-white checkered really spiced things up at the end there, but Daniel Nanny gets the job done for Ball State here tonight. The dominant car in the field, able to close this one out, even with the late race drama of hitting the inside wall under pacing. He'll get it done by just under tenths of a second from Jake Cummings, who finished second for Converse. Zach DeWale, third for St. Clair College. Reese Bayham and his CIL debut, fourth for Auburn tonight. Athena LeClaire, fifth for St. Clair College, for a second straight top 5 to open up the season. Our Muhammad Alif led the opening 50-some laps here today. He'll finish 6th for Ball State. Jason Wallet, a hard-earned 7th here tonight for Drexel. Jared Kaler, 8th for UNC Charlotte. Logan Smith, 9th for Auburn, and Keegan Cowlick, 10th for St. Clair College.
And in 11th, we have Andrew Burrell from Clemson. Dylan Gandinas ends up 12th from Pennsylvania College of Technology. Garrett Vighton, last week's winner, ends up in 13th after that late race wreck. Nick Stockner from Clemson finishes 14th. Michael James from Drexel finishes 15th. Zachary Tallman, also from Penn College of Technology. Penn College had a great day today, finishing 16th. Wesley Shaw from Texas A&M University of Texarkana finishes 17th. Edward Sanchez, who we saw have some fire under his engine at the back half of the race, finishes 18th. Alex Finnerty from UNC Charlotte finishes 19th. And Clint Halterman, his teammate, finishes 20th.
21st tonight will be St. Clair College's Daniel Hunter, Ethan Decatur, 22nd for Valpo, Ricky Paz, 23rd for ECU, Drew Williams, 24th tonight for Clemson University. Ball State's Lucas Moody will finish 25th. Jack Wilson for North Georgia in 26th as the last car on the lead lap. Esteban Munoz finishes 27th for FIU, just ahead of a pair of Kettering drivers, Dwayne Young and Connor Zabosian, and Ben Neller finishes 30th tonight for Ball State.
And rounding out your field here, Roger Primo from Paul Smith College finishes 31st. Jake Hall from Clemson finishes 32nd. Brian Whitlock from the University of Alabama Huntsville finishes 33rd. Carter Copini from Paul Smith College finishes 34th. University of Toledo's Nathaniel Crone finishes 35th. Lee Kane from the University of Southern Mississippi finishes 36th. Matthew Nordberg from North Carolina State finishes 37th. Ball State's Kelton Quick finishes 38th, and rounding out your field is Austin DeLong from Penn College of Technology in 39th.
Yeah, so that is how the field finished here tonight. And now we'll have an opportunity to bring in race winner Daniel Nanny to the booth. Hey there, Daniel. This is Alex and Brad up in the booth. You got a copy?
Yes, sir.
Daniel, congrats on the win tonight. Got it done in dominating fashion. What was it about either your approach or the car tonight that really let you get out front and stay out front?
Yeah, I going into this race, I was not confident. I really disliked this car and track combo, and I really thought it would be a Leaf that would be winning this race. But yeah, I did was just stay calm and just try to race the best I could. And thankfully, I found a line that nobody else was racing up front, and it was working for me.
Yeah, it certainly did. You were cruising there at the end. I have to ask you, what happened there? I believe on the penultimate restart, the pacing laps ahead of time, you ended up tagging the inside wall a little bit. Is everything okay? Because it looked like the car was still handling fine, but that certainly gave us a fright up here in the booth as well.
Yeah, what happened with my monitors froze. I was in the middle of the corner and they froze. I was like, oh no. I thought I was going to crash, but thankfully they unfroze and then I hit the wall. But yeah, I was kind of lucky though. I thought my computer was going to crash or something. So yeah.
Well, I'm glad it unfroze then, because if it crashed when you were up in the front, if I was in your position and my computer crashed at the end of a race after leading that much, I don't know if I'd ever race again, to be entirely honest.
Yeah, I was a little scared though. I was sweating more than I was during the race.
Yeah, but hey, luckily for you, it unfroze. You're able to get the job done here tonight. And after a tough start to the season at Charlotte, a win here in race number 2 is definitely going to get you back on track points-wise. How do you feel this sets you up for the rest of the season?
I'm feeling pretty good. I'm feeling pretty confident. As long as I avoid the people that, make mistakes on the racetrack, I should be set for the remainder of the season. It's only race 2, so this is the start of a comeback.
Well, hey, the comeback is on, that's for sure, and you got it. The biggest amount of points back you could here tonight, led the most laps, got the win. Daniel, that is certainly going to give you a ton of points moving forward, so congrats to that as well. Anyone you would like to shout out here tonight to celebrate the win?
Obviously, I got to shout out all the sponsors in the car, Pepsi, RL, Ryco, and just to name a few, and the entire Ball State Sim Racing organization for backing me up here for yet another season, and all the boys on the Sim team. I have to give a huge shout out to Elise for putting on a pretty good performance there. Unfortunate that he didn't get the finishing position that he got, but he still finished 6th, so good for him. And yeah, I gotta shout out my parents for watching and supporting me on this journey. And lastly, guys, shout out CIL for putting on this great broadcast for everyone.
All right. Well, Daniel, thank you so much for joining us up here in the booth. Congrats on the win. You go and celebrate with all your Ball State teammates, and we're excited to see you on the track next week.
Thank you, guys.
All right, that was race winner Daniel Nanny from Ball State, and Brad is now catching up with second place finisher Jake Cummings.
I'm down here on pit road with Jake Cummings. Jake, first off, congrats on the podium. It seemed like you were pretty much within the top 5 the entire race today, and there was a lot of battling going on wherever you were, it seemed like. But coming into New Hampshire here, I mean, we've never been here before. What was your thought process going into the race and with this setup?
It was a weird one because this is the one track that I didn't have for the schedule, and they'd also just recently redone it, so any guides you could find were on the old one, so it's never going to be the same. I felt really slow. I think it's just because of how tight the setup was. It didn't feel consistent or anything, but I think probably like it is at a lot of tracks that require some throttle control. It's really just about patience on that throttle on exit, and you really needed to send it in, which felt like you were hurting your tires, but you needed to do that so that by the time you were, done braking and you returned, it wasn't too early to get on the throttle, because that was a really bad combo if you couldn't get that right. So you either needed to be really easy on entry or like, really easy on the exit. But yeah, it was interesting. It was fun. I'm glad we tried it for sure.
And then we had that long green flag stint that ended around halfway through the race. What were your thoughts going through that? Did you, plan for it to be a green flag run pretty much through the remainder of this race? Because obviously a lot of things got turned on its head the second half.
I was hoping it would be, actually. I was thinking we could get some pretty good long runs, and I guess we did. The car didn't really change at all. It just got slower, but you didn't really need to change up your driving technique at all. So it was fun, and the gaps were crazy. Nanny did a really good job of keeping his tires under him, and Alif did a really good job as well on his older tires, not even dropping outside the top 3. I thought that was crazy. So there's some kind of strategy that they had to keep their tires in check for that long. I guess it just kind of plateaued by the end, but I didn't like that the caution came out, even though it was wishful thinking to believe that it was going to go green to the end. But yeah, it kind of just got a bit chaotic from there, and I felt like all the way back to 8th at one point, and I was thinking, man, I'm probably going to get wrecked. I'm starting to get pretty low, but it ended up being all right. Got lucky with a few other people's misfortunes and avoiding some things, and yeah, I mean, it sucks I didn't have a chance at the win, but Daniel probably was not going to let me have that with any sort of ease. So I'll definitely take second. I'm happy with it.
Yeah, and with that second, I mean, you had a 9th place finish last week, and that has put you currently sitting in P1 in the standings. I know it's early in the season. I know that's it's a little weird to think about, but yeah, you're currently provisionally P1 in the standings. So going into the rest of the season, especially after New Hampshire here, how are you feeling?
Well, a lot better now that you've told me that. I almost don't believe you. I kind of want to check myself. Because I was talking with Garrett, and he didn't do too badly, and he had a pretty sizable points lead for just it having been one race. So I was like, you're probably around where I am, around top 5 somewhere. But yeah, I mean, 8th to 1st in one race without even getting the win. I mean, yeah, I guess Daniel had his issues in the first race, so maybe it makes sense. But yeah, that's a nice surprise. Thank you very much for that. Yeah, the next track, Chicagoland, I won that race last season. There were a few notables missing from that race, obviously, but feeling good about it, especially if the setup's pretty similar. And just the last week's result was pretty good in the end, but I felt like it was on the lower end of where I should have been with everything else that happened. So this was definitely on the higher end of where I was around, between like 3rd and 5th all race. So it balances out. I'm pretty happy.
Well, if you wanted an update on how the points are, we're getting reports here. So Garrett is 4 points behind you in P4. And then, so the top 5 is Daniel Nanny is now taking 5th position. It's only 5 points behind you. So you don't really have much breathing room right now with this provisional
top
P1
5
in the standings.
5 points from each other?
It sounds like it.
I'm trying to find this.
Yeah,
oh, here it is. Here it is.
So
I found it.
You're 1 point north of Athena right now, who's 1 point ahead of the Whale, who's 2 points ahead of Garrett, who's 1 point ahead of Daniel.
Yeah, I just pulled it up.
So
That is crazy.
still pretty tight up front at the moment. Nanny got a ton of bonus points this week from the pole, or something from qualifying, and then also a laps led and winning the race and all that. But
Well,
yeah,
okay then.
consistency has somehow snuck you into that that top spot.
That's pretty cool. Yeah, I think it's the first time I've ever actually led the standings in any CIL series, which is a little hard to believe for me, I think. So I'll check that off my bucket list. Thank you very much, guys.
Hey, and hopefully you keep that momentum up. We'll see you up here next week. But before that, is there anyone you'd like to shout out?
I want to shout out everyone on track for letting me keep my 0x, because that would be the one bonus point that's gotten me the lead. I nearly got it last week as well. But yeah, so that's those bonus points, they're going to come in handy at the end of the season. Especially seeing Daniel was 16 to my 3, so that's but also thank Converse University Esports, of course. They're probably watching in the chat and everything. They've become really big fans of the CIL, especially with what the show you guys put on. So thank you very much for that as well, and all that you guys do. And I hope the race was fun. And I also thank my fiance for watching my personal POV stream as well. And also thank Tech Sport Academy for helping us bridge the gap from sim to reality. Thank you very much, guys.
Well, thank you, Jake, for joining us up here at the booth, and have a great week. We'll see you next week at Chicagoland. See if you can go back to back here.
Thank you as well.
And that was your second place finisher, Jake Cummings from Converse. We'll send it back up to the booth with Alex, who is with our third place finisher, Zachary DeWale.
Hey there, Zach. You got a copy?
I hear you, bud.
Hey, well, you've had quite the adventurous day, it seems like. Yet, when it's all said and done, here we are talking to you again up here in the booth. I'd say talk to us a little bit about your day, but we got to see a whole lot of it on track. It was wild. What were you seeing from your seat?
The fence, the fronts of other cars coming towards me for a bit, and it's just a lot, man. We were all over the place today, but it was a lot of fun. I really enjoyed driving this track.
Well, it seemed like you were having a lot of fun, because anytime you hit a setback, I'd look up like 20 laps later and you were right back in the top 10. It was kind of wild. What were you enjoying about the track today? Is it just New Hampshire as a whole? Was it the setup? What was working for you tonight?
I don't know. It's kind of like everything kind of clicked, honestly. I didn't even own New Hampshire until like a week ago, getting ready for today's race. But something about this setup and just being able to, or having to kind of work the throttle, let the car kind of roll through the center of the corner, it's a kind of racing that I really, really like doing. I like when you kind of have to really take care of the car like that. You can't just throw it through the corner. You have to work it. It just worked really well for me. And something about running that bottom line around here just was clicking, and I was able to keep getting a good drive off the corner. So a combination of all those things, I guess.
Seems like it. Yeah, I was about to say, that was something that Brad was commenting on earlier. Was it seeming like you were just able to run that bottom better than just about anyone in the field tonight, and you were putting it to great effect. I'll also have you know, I don't know if you have seen the points or not yet, but you've now moved up into P3, so congrats to that. You are 2 points behind Jake Cummings for the points lead right now after 2
Man, that's pretty cool.
Yeah, you're right in the hunt here. You're a point behind Athena, 2 points behind Jake, but then also 2 points clear of Garrett and 3 ahead of tonight's winner, Daniel Nanny. So,
wow,
right in the thick of things so far. How do you feel about that now, 2 weeks in, knowing that you were right in the middle of the early title hunt?
Honestly, I think if I can keep clean, keep having solid results like this, not get too caught up in race for a win, just be consistent and stay up front, we can hopefully stick around in the top spots of the championship. Hopefully, try and fight for it again. It's been a long time since I've been able to be up there. I keep choking in those playoff formats that we used to have. So I'm glad we're back to this full season points. Makes me feel quite a bit better about my odds.
I'll say that was always, it seemed like, where you were shining in some of the earlier seasons in those season-long format. So excited to see what you bring to the table once again now that we're back into that format. Zach, anyone you'd like to shout out here tonight?
Yeah, absolutely. Emily, Riley, Bill, Jordan, everyone at home, Andrew, Trent, everyone watching, all the guys at OWR, of course. Ryan Whitlock did a really good job with the paint. We made a couple little updates here and there, a new number, again, back from the old 100. Yeah, it was just a really fun race. I'm glad we came here. I'm glad I finally had an excuse to buy this track and try it out, and I probably wouldn't have done it otherwise. So definitely gonna run it more when it pops up on the old officials calendar.
I'm glad you had a good time with it. We had a great time watching you go out there and battle. Congrats, and excited to see what you bring next week.
Thanks, buddy.
All right, and that is third place finisher Zach DeWale bringing it home for St. Clair College. Brad, any final thoughts from tonight?
I mean, I feel like these first two races are any indicators that you can't really expect anything to really happen here in the CIL. I mean, we had a great long green flag run here tonight, and I think we showcased what everyone can do at a new track, and especially we saw some newcomers really show it to some of the veterans here. So I think this season we're going to see a lot more shaking in the points, a lot more battling in the points from the sounds of it right now, and also just a lot more overall great battles.
Absolutely. Well, let's talk to you about some upcoming events in case y'all were curious. If you want to see the next Garage Shop College Cup Series race, that is coming to you next week, Monday, February 3rd, starting at 8:30 p.m. Race 3 from Chicagoland Speedway. You won't want to miss that. That is the next Garage Shop College Cup Series race. But if you don't want to wait that long, there's a couple more broadcasts that we have coming up. Next one that you'd be able to watch here on this channel is Wednesday night. The IndyCar race, the Formula Series, goes to New Hampshire. An interesting combination of track and car there. That'll be Wednesday, January 29th at 8:45 p.m. You won't want to miss it. CIL also has a couple of other races that won't be broadcast. But if you're a fan of... Okay. Well, this is being broadcasted? Okay. Well, actually being broadcasted, contrary to what I initially thought, the first race of the Collegiate Sports Car Challenge is going to be kicking off as well. Race 1 from the Daytona Road Course. Be kicking off January 30th at 8:45 p.m., so that is this Thursday. And then also next week we'll have the first short track showdown race of the year, but we'll get to that next week when we get a little bit closer to that. So for everyone here at the CIL, for producer Christian Hill, co-commentator Brad Daniels, I've been Alex Gagnon saying thank you so much for tuning in to tonight's race from New Hampshire. Thanks for sticking with us through this up and down that was New Hampshire Motor Speedway for the first time on the CCS calendar. And we will see you next week in Chicagoland.
Racing isn't easy, but experiencing it is. iRacing puts you in the driver's seat with the industry's leading sim racing game. Drive on laser scan replicas of the greatest racing circuits from around the world. Go head-to-head against other drivers chosen by skill-based matchmaking to ensure competitive racing at every level. Compete across all your favorite series. In officially licensed cars, engineered to deliver the most accurate driving experience possible. Join a race or host your own with players from across the globe. Race against the computer or in a league with friends. Feel the thrill behind the wheel. Visit iRacing.com.
When you want to be the best, you can't settle for the rest. For anything on iRacing, there's just one name you need: Makoni.
With the launch of Makoni Entertainment and Makoni Competizone alongside Makoni Setup Shop, we now provide the best of the best in setups, paint schemes, coaching, broadcasting, and event organization.
With cars across all 4 license classes, we have what you need to hit the track with confidence. Grab a subscription and save money while going fast at MakoniSetupShop.com/subscriptions.
And remember, at Makoni Setup Shop, there are setups, but your victories.
Hello, my name's Aaron Brown from the Garage Shop in Denver, North Carolina. We're here at the famous Bonneville Speedway in Wendover, Utah. One of the most harshest environments on the planet to race in, and that's why we need the best tools Snap-on has to offer. What we use here to pump up the oil in our race engines to prime them is this Snap-on screw gun. With its variable speed and high torque, this allows us to spin our oil pumps up to 1,500 RPMs, creating 70 pounds of oil pressure, which helps us get everything settled in, nice and happy, and turn the hot oil through the engine. It's compact, lightweight, and able to fit in really tight spaces. Its 9-position clutch allows us to torque things, nuts, bolts, from 8-inch to 50-inch pounds. Small size and high performance helps us get into many places on a race car where normal tools can't. Under the dash and the engine compartment, we also use this to drill a lot of holes in very tight spots.